What is going on? Good afternoon. And I'm pissed because I can't. I'm trying to figure out how to put my Santa hat on without the headphones being so. It's weird, but with that being said, I'm just gonna hold the Santa hat up. Thanks for tuning in. We are 2 days away from Christmas. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and yeah, I mean, hope everyone is enjoying the nice warmth of their home. I know in this cold weather, and different states have different, weather advisories. I know up in Jersey, we have snow advisories and wind chill. I know tomorrow's gonna be like 8 degrees tomorrow. So
Yeah, I
what's
mean,
up?
here in Georgia, we have like a
Our first comment, Todd Owens. What's up, Jordan and Kyle?
what's
What's
going on,
up,
Ty?
Ty, man?
Yeah, like I was saying that even here in Georgia, we have like a state of emergency because I think it's supposed to get down to like 9 degrees or something like that. So, uh, yeah, it's kind of weird to see like this blanket cold weather just everywhere. I mean, it's kind of fitting. I mean, it's Christmas time.
Yeah. So, I mean, how you doing, Kyle? Man, I know like this is like our second to last episode, technically before like the new year starts. I mean, we got this week and then next week.
Yep.
I'm probably gonna decide to do season 5 next year. Season 4 was like all of this year. But yeah, I mean, how you doing, man? How you feeling? Are you feeling festive today? Or
I mean, yeah, I'm good. It's like I said, a couple of days out. I'll probably check out a lot of Christmas movies and stuff over the weekend. But looking forward to Christmas Day, even on a sports front, since that's what we do on here. We're gonna have NFL, NBA. I think that's it. Well, there might be a college bowl game or something, but I mean, it's just gonna be a packed day. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna watch it all, but I mean, yeah. Other than that, it's been cool coming up to the end of the year. I joined up with you on here later into the year, but it's been fun. So can't wait for 2023. I know it's going to be a big deal, not only for this show, but our shows over on the network, my show as well. So
damn, it was -5
can't wait.
Shoot, man, that is like frozen tundra weather.
Yeah, almost. I mean, frozen tundra, you get like -20 and -15 easily.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, this is a time for giving instead of gifting. Receiving instead of giving, or receiving instead of getting. Um, you know, or is it the other way? Is it
I think you're
gifting?
trying to say is about
It's about
giving instead of
giving.
receiving. Yeah,
Yes, giving instead of receiving.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it's about family and spend time with them and going into next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just dive into the first couple topics of the NBA schedule. Let's see what we got. So, so yeah, there was this article. I think it was like a post I saw like on Instagram. I don't know if it was official, but James Harden like came out and like we all know he got shipped out to Philadelphia to pair up with Embiid, and at the time Steve Nash was the coach, and it was like KD, Kyrie, and Harden, the big three. But we all know they never really gelled together. I gotta look at the specific of what James said because he kind of like threw. Let me see, James Harden. He kind of like the way I looked at it was he kind of like he didn't throw the team under the bus, but he kind of did low key without kind of like calling anybody out. But I gotta.
Yeah. I mean, if he did, I guess I could kind of understand because that Brooklyn experiment was a disaster. I fully believe that a lot of his issues in Brooklyn were probably Kyrie driven because Kyrie wasn't around a lot, which put more responsibility on him. And to him, I feel like he wasn't going there for that. He was going there to be one of the big three, not one of the big two, and all this kind of stuff. I know that your topic, you said like throwing shade at KD, and even if he did that, I would feel like that would be on a probably like a leadership like type of criticism, because I think most people who watch the NBA or have kind of followed Kevin Durant's career or seen kind of the steps he's made, I mean, I have no problem questioning that because you think about the burner accounts and all that kind of stuff. Not really leader type. Um, his time in Golden State, you know, supposedly being jealous of it being Steph Curry's team and never being his team. That's not leader qualities there. And then even his time in Brooklyn outside of Harden, but a lot of people look at him and want him to take more of a leadership role in terms of dealing with Kyrie. So they think like a lot of the Kyrie issues fall on KD for not stepping up and fixing all of that. So if he's questioned KD's leadership, I'm pretty sure most of us have done that over the years. I guess I wouldn't be mad at that. But then again, like looking at Harden, I mean, can we really respect the way that he's kind of, I guess, moving around in his career? Those years in Houston, then he failed, and then he ballooned up to the point where they had to move him because he wanted out. And then yeah, it's always like a question of him, like how committed is he to an NBA season? So I don't know if he's the right person to bring that up, but you know, I mean, can't be mad for him having an opinion.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the statement. I think I saved it. Did I save it? Oh yeah. Oh yes. Thank God. Because I always save posts that I find. So, it was. This is what he. This is him opening up about his time in Brooklyn. It was just there was no structure in Brooklyn, meaning they put in parentheses Brooklyn. Even superstars they need structure, and even superstars they need structure. I knew
Mhm.
people were going to talk and say you quit and all that stuff, but and then the following summer, the other superstar there, Kevin Durant, they put I guess he didn't say his name, but in the post they said Kevin Durant wanted to leave. So it's like, am I still this quitter? Um, so does he have a point? Because like KD, I mean, he did come out. Obviously, it was originally Kyrie, and then they got James Harden, and then we all saw the news that KD was going to the Nets, and then I mean, I know injury was a factor. KD was dealing with that Achilles. Coming back from that, Kyrie was, in the political realm of trying, for like the black community and getting everyone, all the because of the George Floyd, incident that happened that sparked the whole nation. Him with his stance on that, and then here comes James Harden, and then he got injured. So they never really had. I think they played like 14 games total of them on the floor together, or maybe even like maybe more than 14 games. But I mean, I know James Harden is not the Harden of old, not the Harden like 60-point a night Harden we've seen in Houston, but I, I'll kind of criticize Harden a little bit, here and there with him being available and healthy and stuff. But
Yeah.
he does have a point where, I mean, there were reports that KD wanted out of Brooklyn. He was either him leaving or Steve Nash and Sean Marks
Hmm.
gone. So talk to me, Kyle. Like, do you feel a little bit about what Harden is saying to a point where, yes, there's three superstars on the team. There's structure. There needs to be structure, but was Harden really labeled a quitter when KD wanted out?
I mean, yeah, because I mean, I've been one of those who said that Brooklyn's issues have been structure as well. And I think part of that is, Joe Tsai being so new to maybe the NBA ownership experience that I kind of think KD and Kyrie thought they could walk all over him. And that was like evident in the point that they wanted Steve Nash to be the coach. Very first press conference, Kyrie talking about we don't need a coach. So that kind of, you know, cut any voice that Steve Nash is going to have in the locker room, like from day one.
Right.
Then Steve Nash become the scapegoat for all of their issues, even though KD and Kyrie weren't, vibing when they were playing, especially in that playoff series. I mean, Kyrie kind of quit, and a lot of it fell on KD. But then the Ben Simmons aspect of it. So it's just like a whole bunch of,
That's a whole
you
other
know,
factor right there. The Ben Simmons thing. That's a whole other
yeah,
story in and of itself.
and it's like it seems like the organization can't make the right decision. They constantly do the wrong thing. Now, I do think the fact that when they fired Steve Nash and they made Jacques Vaughn the coach, I think that's probably the first win that they had in his organization in a while. And we're kind of seeing they're playing better now. You can attribute that to Kyrie looking like he's committed to this season, playing it out. Uh, a factor in that could also be that he's looking for a new deal. But I mean, they look good now. And if you look at Harden over in Philly, I'd probably say Brooklyn looks better right now. And I'm sure Harden probably wasn't thinking that when he, got out of there. But I mean, I'm not mad at him for the stuff that was going on while he was there for wanting out. I mean, it's kind of a tired story with Harden at this point, where he wants out and he finds a way to get out of places. But from his statement, I mean, I'm not mad at that. Brooklyn had issues with their structure.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with. I mean, him as far as as far as like having three superstars. I mean, obviously, when those three were playing, like everyone thought that Brooklyn was going to like win the finals and get to the finals and get a championship because they
Yeah.
had three All Stars on. But I mean, I know, like you said, injuries were a factor. Harden's injuries, and then the whole Ben Simmons saga of him, in street clothes, not wanting to play and having that nostalgia of the Hawks game. I mean, I really what it was. I mean, he kind of gave up a easy layup. I mean, um, there's times where there's times where Ben is still is scared to go up to the basket and go for a dunk. Um, but I do love like the whole switch around with the coaching carousel because I knew Jock Peterson or not Jock Peterson. I mean Jock. I mean
Yeah,
um,
Jock Vaughn, who
Jock Vaughn.
yeah.
My bad. Jock Vaughn. I mean had really has made every player on his team accountable for their like defensive mistakes. And
Hmm.
not saying that Nash didn't do that because we don't know what he. I mean, we weren't in the locker room during the speeches he had, but just seeing this team play, like I've seen the whole change. I mean, Ben Simmons is playing well, Kyrie's playing well, KD's playing well. He's risen his MVP or talks like in the conversation. He's like number 5 or number 6 in the MVP talk. Where towards the beginning of the season, like they really didn't have any chemistry because Ben wasn't really playing. Kyrie was suspended for those couple games.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Jock Vaughn has really um, created a culture that the Nets need. Like I know your teams in the East, the Celtics.
Hmm.
And what a time to like get it going because Celtics have been losing games. I mean, they lost to the Magic. They almost lost to the Lakers. Lost 20. I mean, even though y'all won, but y'all lose to the Warriors without Curry. So y'all are having
Oh,
issues. Even though
Curry played
you're
in that game.
oh he did play.
Yep.
Uh, um, what was the score of that game? I mean, I know y'all got smacked like 120 or 120 to 100 or something like that, I gotta look.
Something like that. Um,
But I mean, like, what a time for the Nets to come together. With the with the Celtics, the and then Milwaukee's number 1 in the East now right now. Like, so
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, but for Brooklyn, their success is going to be based off of the playoffs because when KD and Kyrie were put together, everybody assumed championships. Haven't come close. I do think Brooklyn kind of misread the room with the whole bringing in Harden because if you look around the NBA, we've kind of gone away from the whole big three aspect of the league. Most teams now have a good duo, and then you need depth behind it. But for some reason, Brooklyn wanted to go against that trend and be like, oh, we're just going to bring in three big stars. The rest of our team will be a bunch of whatevers, and we'll just make it work. And it's like, no, that doesn't work anymore. That worked maybe 5 to 10 years ago, but we started slowly moving away from that just recently. So that's what I think it is. And the fact that, Durant and Kyrie are playing well right now, Ben Simmons, who, I mean, I guess is supposed to be a big three type of guy, but I mean, I'm not calling Ben Simmons a star or superstar or anything like that.
I mean, he could. I mean, if he gets his mind right, he could be. I mean,
That's a big if. I'm
that's
just talking about right now. Right now,
yeah,
you look at Ben
that's a big
Simmons right now. He's like a 2A 2B type of option. Like when I was talking about like the big three era, it was like you get a bunch of like alpha male number one guys, put three of them together, and then you fill out the rest of your roster with
I'm not sure who this is, but yeah, I mean, the Nets have a big 2.5.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So it's not big threes anymore. It's big two. Well, they have 2.5. But I mean, just look around the league. The Celtics, Tatum and Brown. Milwaukee, Giannis, Middleton. Cleveland, you could say Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. So out west, Golden State, you'd say Clay, Curry, because Draymond Green he's an important aspect for sure, but you wouldn't consider Draymond Green like a superstar. So,
right.
I mean, Dallas. Then there's other teams that are still trying to find that second person, like Dallas, where it's Luca and fill in the blank with whoever you want to fill in with on that night. So, uh, we'll have to see if Ben Simmons, like you said, gets his mind right and I guess elevates to the level that people expected from him when he was coming into the league. Then I guess that maybe they could buck the trend. But yeah, so once again, whoever the Facebook user is, yeah, that's why I said a couple minutes ago, like you have to go with 2 stars and depth. That's the only way you're going to win in today's NBA.
Yeah, 2 stars in the deep rotation is better. Yeah, definitely. I
Yep.
mean, we've seen that with the Warriors. I mean, in prior years, you had the. I mean, is Clay still in his prime? Do you think, or do you think he's with the injuries? Do you think? Because I was going to say prime Clay when like Gene had mentioned on the Monday Night Show, like that Clay where it was like 40 points off of 6 dribbles or something like that. That kind of Clay, and then you have Curry and Draymond.
You could also, but you kind of equate that to their struggling this season.
No, well, I'm saying
Curry's
just like
good.
Well, I'm saying just like prior Warriors teams where they had
Yeah, it was always Curry and
Iguodala.
Clay, and then you
And it
had
comes to that statement,
Draymond, Iguodala, guys like that. So yeah,
So yeah, I mean their depth was just like they had Zaza Pachulia off the bench for the center. So like it's like a Mooney. I think Mooney was on the team at the center. Like if he went down onto the bench, Zaza could step up. Or if great Draymond Green got in foul trouble, like Iguodala could step up, and he's a better at the time was a better 3-point shooter than Draymond. Like maybe a corner specialist, I would say Iguodala would be.
mm-hmm.
So I mean their depth was deep on that team.
Yeah, they caused the trend in the NBA right now. Teams tried to find ways to build teams.
Barbosa, Barnes, Livingston, Iggy, Bogut. Wow. Like, whoever this, I don't know who is contributing, but it says Facebook user, but
yeah,
you bring up good points. Barbosa, Harrison Barnes, Livingston, Iggy, Bogut, pre-KD, they were like, but I have a hot take. I mean, obviously everyone probably agrees with me or not, but I mean the Warriors didn't really need KD. They had Curry, Clay, Draymond. I think KD was the asset that they wanted. Just in case like someone, was in foul trouble or whatever, and they had another superstar with KD or with Curry, but to be honest, the Warriors didn't They didn't need KD. I mean,
I mean,
I
sure,
mean, do you
but
think
it's
that
like
do you think that the
if they
year
had the
that
chance to get him, they weren't going to be like,
oh
no,
yeah,
we're good.
but like, do you think that that year that the Warriors were in the playoffs with LeBron, when that KD hit that clutch three against LeBron, do you think that that championship run with KD, do you think they would have won that series without KD on the team, or do you think they could have won with Curry, Clay, and Draymond?
I don't know. Do they get back to the same spot? Yes. I don't know because it's not like KD didn't bring anything to the team. So that's where I'm like, I don't know. Because when you have Curry and Clay, the way that they play with Curry, running off a lot of screens and all right, well, Facebook user answer. Let's see. I think they did just because of how much LeBron leveled up in the finals. LeBron went ballistic, and without KD, I'm not. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking, and I know like it's a lot of people like to disregard KD's run in Golden State and all that cupcake and all that kind of stuff, but you know, can you get mad at him if maybe he was frustrated in Oklahoma City? He got close a couple of years, didn't happen, and he just wanted to go somewhere, have fun, and win for a few years. I can't be mad at that. Now,
I guess my point was like, I mean, KD had a prime Westbrook. I mean, electric, like
they did
Harden.
win though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they, if you can't beat them, join them. I mean, they were up 3-1 against them, right, in the finals
Hmm. Yeah, but and then what
or in
happened?
the conference finals. I mean,
Well, I mean, I think for KD it was like, yes, Westbrook was in his
it was
prime
like,
then,
damn.
but Westbrook still wasn't a great shooter.
Oh
And I
no, but
think,
he was still like an elite slasher.
yeah, but I think when it came down to like those gritty moments late in Western Conference Finals or an NBA Finals, I think to KD, Westbrook's lack of shooting would only get them so far because there's only so much that KD could have done. Now, I'm one of those who does think that if he had stayed there, I think eventually they probably figure it out.
Yeah, of
But
course.
maybe
Like,
KD also seen because they used to have it was him, Russ, Harden. They had Ibaka. They let Ibaka go first, and I feel like that was the wrong move. Then Harden came along because at that point Harden was just a six man, but he was like a really good six man. So I don't know. It's an interesting question though. Like if he stays in Oklahoma City, what do they look like? I've also wondered if he stayed in Golden State, what state would the NBA be in? Like, would it just be, like the gauntlet, just snapping the fingers every year and they're just there in the finals and, NBA fans just being frustrated by it? I don't know. But
I mean, there are so many teams that KD could have gone to. He could have just created his own legacy with another team. I mean, he was like, oh damn, they got Curry. They got. I mean, obviously, if I was KD, I would have probably joined them as well. But I'm saying, if some other team, they could have like, they already had their system. You know what I'm
I've
saying? They
heard
just
people say that. But then I bring up one example. Celtics had a big three. LeBron got sick of running up against them, getting beat up, losing. He knew his buddy Dwayne Wade was sitting in Miami, struggling his butt off. So coordinated a way that he could go there, bring Chris Bosh, because he realized if you're going to go up against KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, those those two other guys with him in Miami would have been his best chance to do that. So it's like, could LeBron have stayed in Cleveland and just been there his whole career, write this crazy legacy, winning a title or two over there? Sure. But at that point, LeBron's probably frustrated of being in the league so long, having teams get deep into the playoffs to not really win. So he went to Miami. He learned how to win from Pat Riley and all that kind of stuff, and then kind of took that to his other spots. So it's just a different NBA. We're out of the NBA with guys from like '80s and the '90s, where it's like Reggie Miller types who was in Indiana. Could have gone somewhere else. He stayed there. Win or lose, he was a pacer for life. I mean, AI had his run with the Sixers, but then later his career at Denver and all that. But today's league, it's like people are going to move. We just have to live with it. They want to play with
Wait,
their
so
buddies. They want to do all that, and it's like,
so,
okay.
so were you just comparing the LeBron decision to Miami compared to KD's? Because
I compare it all the time. People don't want to hear it, but
I
they're
don't want to
they're
hear that
pretty
because I
similar.
don't. Is
They're
it similar?
similar.
Is it similar because I mean
Yeah.
you with KD, it's like
KD left Oklahoma City,
you
joined the Warriors because he wanted to
yeah, the
win a ring.
team that beat them.
Okay.
I mean,
They, they made a
what
spot available for
if
him.
you were a team that if you joined a team that lost to you, wouldn't you hate them?
Who hates anybody in the NBA today?
As far
There's
as like
very few.
individual
There
teams,
are
or just
very
like
few like player rivalries in the league. Like when you see the two teams go up against each other, you know a couple players will get into it.
I mean, I
One I
like
can think of:
I guess I had the Rockets, Celtics, Lakers,
Celtics
like that's
Philly.
one. Celtics,
Marcus Smart
Philly.
and Joel Embiid will get into it no matter what. I can guarantee you that. But for the most part, everybody pretty much loves everybody.
Chris Paul. Chris Paul probably hates Scott Foster at this point. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, yeah, LeBron. But I think the fact that you can't really
I
compare
think the
it to
KD move was more about Steph Curry and wanting to play with Steph Curry because it looks like fun. Same way
that's true.
LeBron. LeBron probably saw the aspect of
But the
he,
thing with
Wade, and Bosh could do some things.
I guess the thing with LeBron is like the way you can't really compare it is because like he went back to Cleveland and got him a title, where KD didn't come back to OKC, he didn't give him a title. So
He went back there when Kyrie and Kevin Love established themselves. So he just made the same move again. Just that nobody cared because he went back to Cleveland.
yeah,
I
I guess they
mean,
can.
once again, I'm not
I think it's just a
I'm not
cupcake
one
move
of
by
those
KD, man.
who I'm not one of those who like looks at what KD did and goes, "Oh my God, KD, how could you?" It's like look around the league. The guy in LeBron who was celebrated for doing some of the same stuff, but KD we want to vilify. It's like no, just leave it as it is. They both made decisions based off of best chance to win.
Yeah, yeah,
That's it.
like just like you said, how like the Warriors were the first kind of like modern team to like have that depth, that bench depth. I think that the Warriors also started a team where I mean they have so many big egos on the team, and just the fact that it didn't work out, and like after they won the title, I mean Draymond and KD got into it. KD said some stuff, Graves said some stuff, and there's so many egos on one team. Like I mean, obviously Kerr did kind of a good job to like bring them all together, but if the Eagles were all even and stuff, I mean, KD was sitting on the Warriors. No, no ifs or buts about it. But KD wanted to, make a legacy for himself, possibly in Brooklyn, but obviously things have gone south in Brooklyn these past couple of years, like with the whole, chemistry and the whole coaching issues and the whole Ben Simmons factor and the whole just, but obviously they got the coaching stuff situated with Jacques Vaughn for the time being. But I mean, what the
Sometimes
question is,
I
what will
wonder if KD actually cares about his legacy. For some reason,
that's
I
not,
get this because the way he kind of acts, it seems like he doesn't. But then the burner accounts and stuff like that makes you think he really cares about it. He's an odd guy to kind of figure out, and in some
a
way,
good point.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, I think the burner account thing is hilarious. That you know, like I can sit here, put something on Twitter, if somebody likes it or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
care.
but
But
he
to
will
think of
go after
KD
you.
as an athlete, like legitimately cares what people say about him, is hilarious.
And I mean, To an extent, I mean, I feel like if as a player, you have to care what people say about you, but like obviously the focus of being a player is to focus on your team and not the outside noise. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, but
But I feel like
yeah, I
as an
mean, I
athlete,
think
you
that
can understand there's gonna be people who are gonna troll against you and just hate on you no matter what you do, and then there's gonna be fans that are gonna love everything you do. And almost to take a sidestep, I saw this with the Celtics recently. Jason Tatum missed a game to do to celebrate his son's birthday, and he did like a charity thing in St. Louis. And I probably made the first mistake of going to Facebook after the game because I'm in like a Celtics group on there. I already knew what I was gonna see, but some of the people were like, how could he miss this game? Yeah, what was more important? And I was like, he celebrated his son's birthday and gave back to his hometown area. That's more important than a basketball game. But people were like, oh, he could have done it on an off day. I was like, bruh, it's a game in the middle of December. Who cares? Like, did he miss a finals game? No. Did he miss a playoff game? No. Are they, well, at that point, they were still in first place, but I was like, did they have a good start to the season? Yeah. If he wants to take a day off to do something like that, why are we going to sit here and act like he was wrong to pick that day? Like, sometimes fans, I just don't get it with them. It makes no sense. So that's
yeah,
why I'm like, with KD, there's going to be fans that no matter what he does, they're going to try to troll him on whatever thing. And it's like to make up burner accounts to try to, I guess, give yourself support. Whatever. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I get like the because like being a fan of like a being a sports fan in general, like you love to have that fan to player interaction because mostly
Yeah.
a lot of players are busy, practice and traveling and teams and games and stuff. And
Mhm.
but KD is like one of those players where there's a couple boys that from my school in Montclair. I know one of them. Like they had their own podcast and like they were deciding like this topic. Like it's KD. Like what when it comes to like LeBron and Jordan, where's KD on this list? And like their episode went viral and they on Twitter and they shared it out and KD responded to it. Like that's crazy. Like
Mhm.
that KD responds to critics and stuff and
Oh, yeah,
I
in
think
that
it's quite
aspect, I
funny.
think
It's quite
that's pretty
funny.
cool. In that aspect, I think that's kind of one of the interesting things with the social media age that athletes are going through now. Athletes can use social media in two different ways. You can use it to connect with fans and kind of humanize yourself to them, or you use it to almost like flaunt your status in fans' faces, which a lot of fans don't like, and then makes it easier for them to hate you. But that and that part, like you're saying, that's cool if you're doing a show.
Yeah,
Tag a team or something, or tag a player, and the player responds. Like that's a big deal.
that's pretty cool. As they bring attention to one the podcast and then like wow, KD responded. Like, but like
Yeah,
I guess speaking of okay, I guess the next question would be so are the Pelicans the overall best team in the league right now or in the West because they were towards the middle of the pack at the beginning of the season. I think they are number one right now. I think at 19 wins. Let me see their record. Uh, with
Memphis
Zion,
might be.
going on. When that
I
oh
think Memphis might be number one right now.
now
Maybe.
wow now Denver. Well, I mean New Orleans is a half game back from Denver.
Okay.
November or New Orleans at 19 and 12, and Denver's at 19 and 11.
Okay.
So it's not that far off. But I mean, I guess I had this question when they were number one
Right. Right. Yeah.
at the time.
I know where you're coming
So I
from.
mean Zion. I mean, averaging 25.2 points. He's averaging like 5 defensive rebounds, 7 rebounds in total, 4 assists, 1.2 steals per game. Um, so I mean, where do you see? I mean, where do you see this team? I know it's too early to decide, but like, what do you see this New Orleans Pelicans team and like after the All Star break getting to a playoff seed? Like, where do you see them?
I think New Orleans, depending on Zion's health and everything, are probably the most intriguing team in basketball because
Yeah, they are.
I mean I could see them winning the West. I
I
could
feel like
see
this is
them.
Brett low key.
I don't
I have
know.
a feeling it's Brett because he's very well educated in the NBA. But it doesn't say his name. But Brett, that's you, man. I don't know, but
I mean, it could be Gene.
it could be Gene, it could be Key, it could be anyone. I don't
Yeah.
know.
There you go. It is.
It is
Well,
Brett.
it
Hey,
is
Brett,
too.
man, welcome
We
to
name
the.
like it. Okay.
Thank you for the
Yeah,
comments,
what's going on,
man.
Brett? Well, okay. So the interesting thing is, before the season, on my channel, I did a preview thing, and I said the top four were going to be the Pelicans, Nuggets, Grizzlies, and I might have said the Suns. Maybe the Suns or Mavericks. The Suns is the one I'm like the having the biggest trouble with, like seeing how they're playing right now. But the other three before the season, I could see it because you know with the Pelicans, the intrigue with them is that we saw last season what Willie Green did. They took the Suns as far as they could, and it's like a real exciting atmosphere down there. They have like a great group of guys on that team. They have like Alvarado types who are just pests on defense and cause a lot of commotion. They have Brandon Ingram, who, if this Brandon Ingram were still in LA would be golden right now. But, with his maturity, he's become such a great player that I feel like he, Zion, and McCollum could be a major problem for teams in the West. I still I'm still on the Nuggets bandwagon with this because I also made the prediction that I think the Nuggets win the West this year. But even with the Nuggets, they have to make sure Jamal Murray stays healthy and Michael Porter Jr. I think Michael Porter Jr. is the the key player for the Nuggets if they want to make it to the finals. But I mean, I can't turn a blind eye to what the Pelicans are doing. Like they're fun to watch. They have Zion, they have Valanciunas who fits in perfectly with that team. I just like the way that their team's constructed, and I think Willie Green is a great young coach. So, could they come out of the West? Yeah. And I feel like with each passing week, I feel more and more. I feel like the percentage for them goes up more and more, probably as like Phoenix stock drops off. I mean, I've never been a big believer in Phoenix anyway. I thought when they lost to the Bucks, that was basically their championship window closing. So I just like the change in the West. It's like the new young teams
Yes.
are coming up, and a lot of the older teams are kind of falling back.
Yeah, it's like every day, like the the conference in the West is just flip flops. Um,
But
I
it's all
mean,
the young teams:
it's either
Nuggets, Grizzlies, Pelicans.
yeah, like I mean, LA is like one half game back to 19 or 14. Sacramento's one of those teams that's 17 and 13 or 2 games above or below 500, or I'm sorry, below the first
They're an
spot.
interesting team too. The Kings are
Um,
interesting.
it's crazy because Utah was number one, like in the first week of the season. There was the whole hype on them. It was whole like Laurie Marketing and everyone. Um,
Nobody bought into that.
so
Nobody.
why I
Yeah,
think the
I
Nuggets.
don't remember anybody who bought into the Jazz.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the group chat on the network. Like I feel like like I think either you Kyle or Brett said it like Michael Porter Jr. is like the next man up other than
Hmm.
Jokic. But Brett makes a point where if if Porter does stay healthy, yeah, you have that depth there at that position, but getting another forward to help carry get the load off of Jokic because he can't do that every single night. I mean, he could, but I mean there were the times where he needs some rest. or taking plays off. So another forward. I mean, I would say Gordon, but he's not really
I was about to say
he ain't
Aaron Gordon is supposed to fill that, but I think without Porter Jr. asking Aaron Gordon to do a little bit too much that he can handle. So I can agree with this about them getting another forward. I just wonder who out there is available that they could get. I mean, some reason the name Jeremy Grant popped in my head.
yeah,
He
Grant.
might fit in there. I mean, Brett could probably, you know,
I mean,
respond back and
I can
see
see
if
I can see Cam Reddish too in that spot. Kind of like in that.
I'm starting to wonder about Cam Reddish. Like, why didn't it work in Atlanta or New York?
I think the one part was injury. Um, what's up, Diggs?
Especially New
I'm not.
York, more so New York than Atlanta. When Atlanta took him,
What he
Crowder.
do? What he do?
I didn't even think about Crowder because Crowder's not playing in
Crowder.
Phoenix. They got to do something with him. Crowder would
Yeah,
Crowder would absolutely fit in Denver.
yeah, Diggs. By the way, we're talking about this NBA talk. You know what I'm saying? Just chime in your thoughts and everything if you're still here, man. Um, but yeah, Brett Crowder, he's kind of has
Crowder's
his ways
interesting.
with the Suns. That's interesting. Um, but I mean, look at the Suns. I mean, I know the Lakers are 13-18. I mean, um, the Warriors are 15-18. I mean, they're 5.5 games, but I mean, the West is kind of like still open. I mean, Lakers are six and a half games. This is prior to them making moves. So who knows what that's gonna how that's gonna happen.
Laker fans are going to hold on to that rope as long as they can.
I mean, we do have I mean, we do have a kind of easy path right now. We have the Hornets tonight, the Mavericks on Sunday, actually on Christmas. Um,
Nothing's going to come easy without AD.
Magic and Lakers, Heat, they're 16-16. Uh, Hawks, so pretty. I would say pretty easy. I mean, easy, or I would say winnable games. These last couple games in December. And in January, we have the Hornets again, the Heat, Hawks, Kings, Nuggets, Mavericks. We play the Sixers again, Rockets, Kings again. Um, the Knicks, Spurs. This is in January, but I mean, barring any trades, any moves we make, I mean, hey, the West can be shooken up. I mean, even when Curry comes back, the Warriors can be look different. I mean, I see Curry giving the Warriors a boost. Um, and they're 5.5 games back from top spot. Lakers are 6.5 games below the top spot. So I mean, the only team that's kind of like out of the is Houston, and I would say Sacramento because now they're 9-22 or they're 10-21. So I mean, they all know what they're doing. They're probably tanking to get win Miana or whatever. But we'll see.
Wait, you said
Uh,
Sacramento?
no, I meant yeah, no, I meant San Antonio.
I was about to say, I was like, Sacramento had to be better than that, I thought.
Yeah, they're 10-21 Sacramento, and then Houston's 9-21. LeBron has
Yeah, San
posted a
Antonio.
120 offensive rating over the past 10 games. He comes alive lately. They need to make a move to address the guard spot. I definitely agree. I gotta have to work. Gotta head
Well,
to work. Great
depending
show.
on the AD injury, they have to address
Oh,
the
gotta head to
post
work.
position too.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for tuning in, Brett. Thanks for your obviously your NBA
Yeah,
insider input. I like that, and yeah, enjoy the holidays, man.
yeah.
Have a great
Happy
holiday.
holidays for sure.
But
Um,
yeah, I mean, yeah, like Brett, I'm gonna put this back up. Like Braun has posted 120 offensive rating, which is pretty good. I mean, as you see, he obviously not pretty good. That's like great. Um, but like Brett said, we need some pieces to like help out with LeBron. I mean, obviously, 80's out, maybe a month and a half. So I mean,
his
obviously
offensive
getting
rating
a
also won't mean anything unless wins come with it.
well, yeah, that's true. Um, that that is a factor, but I mean, that just proves that we need another guard because I'm obviously Beverly can't get points. I mean, like the only person that's really been good is Lonnie Walker. I mean, that's the one that's I like that trade that he dunks, he can shoot.
because these are all issues the Lakers had going into the season.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
some
I
Laker
did.
fans tried to tell me Pat
I
Beverly's a
mean,
3-and-D guy. I don't
well,
know where that reputation came
I'm
from,
not.
but
I never said that shit. Like,
no, I'm just
I
saying.
mean, I know.
I
Oh
was
well,
talking
yeah,
about other Laker fans are like, "Oh, he's
uh,
a 3-and-D guy." No, he's not.
yeah.
Stop using that term for these
I mean,
guys.
I can say he can shoot the three, but not this year. I mean,
He
he can
makes like
shoot
one a game.
maybe one or two, yeah. Um,
He scores like six
but I
points,
mean,
and
he
now all
definitely
of a
gives us
sudden
that.
he's calling everybody little.
I,
It's
mean, I
like,
guess it gives that defensive aspect to the game, like kind of like
eh,
in people's faces.
I guess.
I mean, you wouldn't like him on the Celtics, man. Like
No,
give him that fire on your team.
no. Marcus Smart's a much better version. No, Patrick Beverly, man. Somebody needs to talk to him because I saw the clip of the other night against Sacramento. He made the little post move. He slapped the floor, put his like top too small. They were down by 20. Okay, Patrick Beverly. Thanks for playing.
True. Yeah. I mean, that's where we need. I mean, so I guess the next question is what. I mean, obviously you're a Celtics fan, but I mean, what guard would you want to see on the Lakers, like that could fit our that would give us that boost? I know it's kind of like an on the fly question because it wasn't like in the.
No, that's fine. I'm trying to think of a guard who would be available. I mean, I've said, could they get somebody out of Charlotte?
Like
Do they want to? Do
like
they
a
want
Terry
to do?
Rozier.
I've said Terry Rozier would work there because Terry Rozier gives you defense. He's a scorer. Now he can have some games where he'll put up like a 4 for 20, and you kind of have to deal with it.
That's streaky, yeah.
But a guy like that, or maybe
I mean, is it Buddy Hill still in the conversation, or Miles Turner?
if I'm Indiana, why am I giving up Buddy Hield? Like, have you seen the Pacers play lately? They're
I
they're, they're not bad. Like
I have.
Halliburton, Hield, they're dangerous. Um, Turner, well, I mean Turner doesn't fix your guard issue,
Oh yeah.
but Turner would, I guess, help for those games where AD may miss or something. Does Turner fit there? Sure, yes. Guard spot, guard spot. I'm trying to think of a team that has like a lot of guards that needs to move one. I mean, Miami, could you get Duncan Robinson? I'm not a big Duncan Robinson guy, but
He's 3D too, man. Sometimes.
hmm. Oh, okay. If Chicago decides to blow it up,
Levine.
can you get Levine?
I heard Levine wants to like the Lakers, man. That's why I saw a report saying
I mean,
that would be.
I have my questions about Levine, but
He's
he at
yeah.
least would give them athleticism at the guard spot. I mean, Westbrook's athletic, yeah, but uh, the fact that his lack of shooting is still hurting him. We
Oh
saw
yeah,
it. We saw it in the
when can
Celtics game where the
yeah
Celtics kind of backed off of him in overtime because he was like the one guy who had energy left, and
right.
he tried as hard as he could to try to keep the minute in overtime, but after a while it was just him taking jump shots and missing it, and that was kind of the end of the game for them. But I feel like they have to find an upgrade over Pat Beverly. If you want to bring him off the bench, fine, but he should not be playing like starter minutes because he doesn't fix anything that they need.
I agree. I agree. Um, well, like when can T start to make trades? I guess like soon.
They could have made trades all now. Trade deadline's not until maybe like late February, I think. So they can make trades all to like February. I think the thing is, it's just trying to find,
like the assets and like the picks and
because
stuff.
that's
Like
another question. What do the Lakers have that teams want? They don't have draft picks really. So if you go to like Utah and one of those young teams, they're gonna want draft picks like this year, next year, like pretty soon.
speaking of
Lakers
the
don't have that.
what about Conley? He's a guy who can give you threes.
I mean, I wonder
With
how much
him,
Conley has in the tank left.
that's one. Yeah, but I'm saying as far as just I think he's in his late or early 30s, maybe not even maybe late
He's probably mid 30s at
mid
least.
30s.
Yeah.
I mean, he still can give you some better shooting. I don't know. Lakers have some issues. They have
There's
to
also
go.
the LeBron issue.
They have to go to the table and just say like, look, what are the teams? What can we get? And how and like what can we give up? That's the only question. And what does LeBron want?
But I'm saying like the LeBron issue is that if you bring in a guy like Mike Conley, he's gonna be used to running the offense. LeBron runs the offense a lot. So could Conley exist in LA being a guy who kind of hangs on the perimeter and is expected to just knock down threes? Can he do that? I don't know. I don't know if Conley probably could better than a lot of people think, but that's going to be the issue in terms of trading for a lot of people. Because I still say, you know, Westbrook would look great if he was just given like a set of minutes where it was just him bringing the ball up, guys leave the paint alone and let him go to work. But the Lakers can't really afford that because they are lacking in so many other areas that we're seeing LeBron having to play pretty big minutes when he's playing. And with the two of them on the court, you know, LeBron's going to take precedence over Westbrook in terms of bringing the ball up and all that. I don't, because I've asked this question to LeBron fans before. Like, all right, I'll ask you as a Laker fan, would you like to see
Happy holidays, man.
LeBron play on the block a little bit more?
So you're saying if I would like LeBron to play on the block more than just
like posting up offensively?
Yeah, I mean, it would kind of relieve the pressure off of his, like his off or his on ball kind of like skill. I would definitely with him being 30, late 30s. I mean, I would want to see him not get his body banged up too much. But I feel like it definitely would help. But I kind of like LeBron on the ball because he can shoot. I mean, he can pass.
He's one of the more streaky shooters that you probably have.
I mean, against those Celtics, he was cashing on y'all, man.
Was he?
He was. I watched from my own eyes
until late in the game when he started bricking. That's what I'm saying.
They were still going in, man. Like from deep too.
Yeah, but he'll have like one game like that in like 4 or 5 games, and then he'll struggle.
Well, because he's not like known as like a Tatum or like a Curry shooter. I mean, he can
That's
still.
my point. But look at his body type. If you put him on the post, he should be able to do well down there. I've asked this for years, like why he doesn't post up more. I don't know why he doesn't.
Maybe because he doesn't want to get. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because with his injury, with his groin, he doesn't want to like use all that force on his body. But I don't know. LeBron, I do agree. LeBron does better. Would be do better on the post. Because he's like a 6'8". He's basically a big man, but obviously he's not 7 foot.
I don't understand it, and it's like.
But okay, but let me ask you this:
LeBron fans don't want to hear that.
But like, if LeBron was in the post against like the Joker, right, or Embiid, who would win that, LeBron or Joker, in the post? Because LeBron, he is known to like do that signature post fadeaway that goes in. Oh man,
not all the time. I guess
he does that shit. He does that shimmy and he does that post move like on the baseline.
Yes, we know his post move.
But I
We
mean, that's what
see it
I'm
every day.
saying. Like when you are up against the elite, he can post up anyone like if you wanted to. Um, at an elite, and still at an elite
You can
caliber.
game plan it though that if he's posting up, he's not posting up Embiid or Jokic. You can run simple pick and roll, get like a guard on him or something. He runs down to the post. They throw it down to him, quick move, go to the hoop. And then if Jokic or Embiid switch on to him, then he just uses his passing ability or takes a fadeaway. I'm just saying, like, yes, I get it. Some games he's knocking down threes, he wants to be on the perimeter, fine. But those games are like far and few between. And it's like I just think sometimes when he just sticks out there on the perimeter, he's not helping as much as he could.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I mean, obviously when if who would be if okay, so if AD comes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would be on the one block. Who would be on the other block? Would it be LeBron?
Well, I mean, if LeBron has a mismatch and goes down there, AD can move a little bit further out, and if he pulls his guy away from the rim,
For
that just gives
that high low off that
LeBron more room to move.
that high low offense.
It seems
AD,
pretty
yeah,
simple, but they don't do it. I say the same thing about AD sometimes. Sometimes AD hangs around on the perimeter too much. If I'm AD,
yeah. Because I mean,
every
well, because that's
offensive
what,
possession, I go to the block, I put my hand up. You throw it into me or you don't, that's where I'm living.
yeah. You bring up a good point with that. I mean, AD does. I do see him. I do see AD flying to the perimeter a lot, a lot. But I'm assuming that he wants to stretch the floor out in some with some teams. Like he doesn't want to like have the paint clogged up a lot. I feel like his mid range game is still I would say not. It's great. Um, so I mean, if
I'd
the
have to look at
defense
the
is giving
numbers
up,
too with that because I kind of have this suspicion that I feel like he was probably better perimeter shooter in New Orleans than now, and maybe some of that's with some of the leg injuries and the back injuries. Maybe he doesn't get the same lift on his shot or something. But because I feel like in New Orleans he was like a legitimate threat
oh
from
yeah, he was.
three and all that. And like I said, if it's back injury and leg, I can understand that because that would take away something from you. But I mean, I just think AD if he plays on the block, that's where he like dominated in that bubble run. Where it's like fourth quarter, Lakers needed a bucket. Where did they go? They went to AD on the block. AD did work, and it's like he doesn't do that all the time. Although he did that a lot more during that run when he was putting up like 40 and all that.
Right.
But he just doesn't do it all year. So,
Yeah.
that's gonna be an interesting thing to see, I guess, when he comes back, what that looks like and what the team even looks like by then.
Right. Right. I definitely agree. I mean, I had, I did have,
Oh, he had those start
I
bench
have some
cuts.
other topics, which is they're pretty good, but I mean, I could say this for another episode because I do want to talk about the World Cup.
Yeah,
So we can say, I mean, so I think I had cut MJ, Braun, and Kobe, and then Kyrie, Dame, Harden. This is the ones I just looked randomly online. But we can definitely say those for like another NBA topic, just for the starter, because I know we took our time with the James Harden, like Brooklyn. So
hmm
let's talk about the World Cup. I know you said you had to say on I think on the Big Three podcast, but um, like this was probably one of the best like World Cups I've seen. The fact that I mean, Mbappe had the team on his shoulders. I mean, Mbappe really didn't have any like touches in this first half. He's kind of getting locked down, and then in the second half, towards the end of um, like regular time, stoppage time. There was a penalty kick that he had. He scored. It was 1-2. Then he
Hmm.
scored back to back off of cross, 2-2. And then there was a handball on the Argentina side. It was well, I think they scored, and then it was 3-2. And then there was a handball. Bobby took it, scored the basically the cap off the hat trick for the
Hmm.
World Cup. I mean, Messi and Mbappe. For those who don't know about like soccer much about it, but Messi and Mbappe are on the same club team at PSG, Paris Saint Germain, in France. Um, two of the greatest players up there with Ronaldo. Mbappe definitely is still young and has that chance. I want to say eclipse Messi or Ronaldo, but has a chance to be up there like when it's all said and done because um, you know seeing Mbappe that game is crazy, like back and forth in the second half. I mean, I want to know what your reactions were, like you being a soccer fan. Like, what did you see in that World Cup?
Well, what we saw was, two great players at two different points in their career. Because Mbappe is only 24, Messi's 35, I believe. So, for a lot of, I guess, the new fans who maybe this was their first World Cup that they tuned into, they saw kind of the past era, the Messi Ronaldo era, and they kind of saw the beginning of the Mbappe. I'm trying to think who else would be, because Messi Ronaldo was such a great talking point for so many years,
It was.
where it was like, who's the GOAT? And, you had your Ronaldo people, you had Messi. Neymar falls in between those two and Mbappe. So I don't really know if now we're going to be talking Mbappe or Neymar. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe it becomes Mbappe Holland, but we need to see Holland in the World Cup and see what he can do with Sweden. So, I mean, that might be an interesting question because if you look at Man City, like Holland is one of the more dangerous strikers in the Premier League. But we just saw Mbappe on world stage. Basically, when he wanted to score goals, he scored goals. When he wanted to kind of just chill, relax, save his energy, he give you his little footwork, little skill moves, and then pass it off. So Mbappe is going to be an interesting player to watch for the next like 5, 6 years to see where he is. And I mean, I'm sure that he's going to be the next one up in the GOAT conversation. But
I mean, he just turned 24 like 2 days ago, I think.
yeah,
So he's still young, which is
I
a great thing.
still say I would love to see him play in the Premier League over PSG
Oh,
because I think in the French league, PSG is just like a cheat code, and I just worry if he stays there too long, will people kind of start, I don't know, not necessarily like disrespecting him or anything like that, but will they try to minimize kind of his impact? Whereas if he goes and plays at Liverpool or Man City, Man United, or something like that, and dominates there, people will be like, "Oh, he's dominating the Premier League. That's like legit." I don't think the French league is on that level, but if he
but didn't
continues to,
he want to go to the La Liga, Real Madrid? He was kind of had those ties, but he also wanted to stay with PSG. But
I mean, if he went La Liga, I'd be fine with that because I think
yeah,
La Liga is really good with the Real Madrid, Barcelona, things like
Atletico.
that. Yeah, so I mean that would be a step up from the French league for sure. Even if you went Italy, like Serie A, I think that's like a slight step above France. But I would love to see him La Liga, Premier League, and I think he'd get way more exposure there, and I think people would like legitimize what he's actually doing because what he did with France in this World Cup, like he does that with PSG daily. but the competition at PSG is just so bad that it's like, okay, you play with Messi and whatever.
Neymar.
Yeah, of course you're scoring goals, and it's just like, I mean, the skill he has is just phenomenal. Like, you put the ball on his feet, he'll dance for a little bit, and then he'll just have this burst of speed and get by you, and it's just like you can't do anything against that.
Yeah, like I every time when like in the second half when Mbappe like touched the ball, like I was like, yo, this man's scoring now.
Yeah.
I knew like right after like he had that PK kick, that first one, and he was on the fly on the other side of the field and had that cross. I knew it was going in because it was like you said, when he had that second gauge of speed. It's hard because like in soccer, because like you have to like watch your speed because like you have to like make sure you're not offsides.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to kind of like maintain that close line of the defense. But Mbappe does a good job of controlling that speed and getting out on the run. And when it is 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, like who's winning that battle? It's Mbappe. There's some times where like, their goalie did stop while there were scoring opportunities, but that's why I felt like watching that game. Like every time he had the ball in his hand, I'm like, damn, I'm on the edge of my seat. Is he gonna score a goal? Because like, but obviously, I mean, France was missing a couple of their key players like Paul Pogba, Benzema, which was a big piece that they missed. Obviously, he retired from the French team. I gotta look into that, see like what their issue was with the whole France situation. But that was another scorer, another striker that they missed. But the fact that Mbappe had the team on their shoulders, like,
I mean, they were still a talented team.
oh yeah.
I think the Benzema injury was probably more than Pogba. I mean, Pogba is
They were both
a good
injuries.
player, but Pogba's another one where it's like his career's kind of taken a weird turn.
He
Where
used to be like one of the best on was it Man United? Like when
yeah, he was like one of
first,
their best midfielders, and then he just wasn't. Then he wasn't playing. Then I think just recently it was like he just wanted to get out however he could, and now I'm not even sure where he is. I want to say he's over in Italy somewhere, but yeah, I don't know. He's an interesting guy, but I fully expect if he did play for France, like he would have been. I mean, him, Mbappe, Benzema, that would have been a problem. I mean, Giroud's still there, but I think Giroud slowed down a little bit. I mean, he's still talented, but he's not the same guy he was a couple of years ago.
yeah. And then speaking of World Cup, did you see like Saltback?
I
Like
think
how
I saw
he
something.
they're still investigating of like how he got like on the field. They said he had like a Qatar like a Qatar member like on through an access pass, and like there you see that clip of like him and Messi, like he was like, who the hell are you? Like that clip where like they were kind of trying to shake hands.
Yeah.
It's all bad. Like he does the little salt, thingy and stuff, and like, but apparently he got like banned from like the because apparently they were in the Salt Bay. He was in the goal with like I think it was like it wasn't Messi. It was Di Maria, and then there was who's that dude with the who does like the celebration that he played with Ronaldo on Juventus.
Wait, what celebration?
He does the little smile face, the smile thingy, and then he had like the Hawaiian like two striped tattoos.
I know who you're talking about.
He's on Argentina. Like he was white dude, like slick hair. He played with Ronaldo on Juventus.
I'm drawing a blank, but I know who you're talking about.
Like they were in the goal together, like and like Salbe was trying to take the trophy, and like there's a certain like couple players who can like are allowed to touch the trophy, and like it was so awkward. Like he was trying to touch it and like get a feel for it, and he got banned from like the open tournament or whatever in the next soccer tournament. But
Uh,
they're still investigating of how he got onto the field because he had the Qatar like World Cup lanyard and like it could have been a fake pass, but obviously he's well known for his restaurants and stuff.
yeah.
But maybe he didn't have. If they're investigating into this thing, I don't. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he didn't gain access to the field, but um, he was trying to shake Messi's hand after the game. Messi was like, "Who are you, man? Like,
Well,
who
I
are
mean,
you?"
the weird thing is, if you look at Messi's career, he's had like fan interactions from people who just ran onto the pitch and went up to him, and for the most part, he like hugs them, he'll shake their hand and stuff. Where a lot of athletes would be scared by a fan just running at you. Messi's one of those who kind of just stands there and goes, "Okay, here's your moment. How you doing? Hope everything's good." And then security sends them off. But I guess it's kind of weird with Salt Bay that he kind of looked at him like, "Why are you here?" Like,
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Or
But
maybe
yeah,
he
man,
maybe he just assumed that with who Salt Bay is, he was just doing it just to get on camera somewhere. Whereas if it's a fan, they're doing it just for their love of Messi, and that's why he probably interacts with them differently.
right. Yeah, definitely the World Cup was definitely a must-watch game. I mean, it definitely was a nail biter to the end. It had went into penalty kicks. I know Mbappe Alves scored the first penalty kick. Messi scored, and then the rest was history. Argentina won. Definitely well deserving of Messi to win a World Cup to his name and add that to his legacy.
Yeah.
Um, but do you have any final thoughts on that on the World Cup before we move to the NFL?
No, I think it was a great tournament for Argentina. Argentina is probably still celebrating it all now. I mean, it's gonna make 4 years from now interesting if Ronaldo decides to give it like one last ride with Portugal. Could Portugal go on a storybook run like Argentina did this year? 4 years from now, I mean, Ronaldo would be like 40 by then, but I mean, it'd be crazy for soccer fans back to back World Cups to see Messi and Ronaldo win one. Or you could even throw Neymar because I don't think Neymar's won one either, but at least Neymar is a little younger. But um, it was just a tournament that kind of lets you know how big the World Cup is. How the world it's like how we treat the Super Bowl.
Right.
The World Cup is the same thing, just a little bit longer period of time, and probably in terms of viewership, they're kind of the same because Super Bowls is like a worldwide event as well. But the World Cup's probably even more so of a worldwide event, and it definitely makes me excited to see 2026 when it's in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Like,
Oh yeah.
who are the new stars that we haven't seen yet? Who are going to come up and by then will be household names, and who will be the surprise teams, kind of like we had Morocco and Croatia made like a surprise run. Especially,
Senegal.
especially with more teams coming in 2026, it's going to be a wild, wild tournament.
Oh, it's gonna be freaking. It's gonna be insane. With like Mbappe still in it. I mean, obviously USA gets in because they're the host.
Mhm.
Mexico's in there. Canada. I mean, Canada's all right. They kind of made a little noise, but not really. But yeah, it's gonna be very like you give bring a good point of how like the new players coming into the tournament, new teams coming in. Like you said, Jamaica might mimic Haiti might be in there. Um, so it's gonna be interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's move on to the NFL. Then we'll call it a episode. So there's Week 15 reactions. This Thursday night game. Those are Niners versus Seahawks. 49ers won 21-13. Um, the Saturday games. Ravens and Browns. Ravens lost 30-13. Um, like, oh man, Tucker missed a field goal, got a field goal blocked. Um,
Yeah, I mean, that happens with kickers. You
oh,
know,
shouldn't happen with
I
Tucker. It
mean
was like
Tucker. Yes, Tucker's still the best kicker in the league today. But it's like,
I mean, people are still shocked like to this day when Tucker misses the field goal. Like, wow, like
I mean that. I mean that just says something about how consistent he's been for so long. But it does happen every once in a while. Where you have to worry is if he goes through and starts missing kicks regularly, then it's like, oh, maybe he's kind of lost it. But like, yeah, he'll be fine. Now the
and
team, on the
then
other hand, I
yeah.
don't know. Mm,
I mean, let's talk about it, man. Like the Ravens actually, since the Jets lost, it kind of helps us out with clinching a spot. Actually tomorrow. If the Ravens win against the Falcons, we clinch a playoff spot. Now it's
well,
up
I
for
mean,
the.
they weren't necessarily worried about the Jets. The,
But
the
I'm saying like
Ravens, the Ravens
say
should get a playoff spot. The Ravens are worried about the division because
yeah.
they want to win the division.
But I'm
That's
saying
what
like
they're worried
it makes our just like our just focus on this on one game at a time.
about. Hmm.
I mean, obviously, like Gene says, I mean the NFL is a week to week kind of game. I mean, Ravens. I mean, I'm not saying we will, but we could. I mean, the Falcons could surprise us, but I don't see them winning against us. Um, but anything could happen. I mean, I know the Texans were in it with the Chiefs last week. I mean, they could have
Hmm.
won that game. Um, it's like 111 and 12 now, I think. So the
Hmm.
Texans. But yeah, now since the Jets did lose to Jaguars, which is a terrible game for the Jets side, which we'll get into that.
Saw that
Um,
coming.
but yeah, we'll get into that game definitely for sure. But with them losing, it kind of paves the way for us to clinch a playoff spot tomorrow. With like
Hmm.
you said, with us getting just 10 wins. And then we have the Steelers next week, and then we have the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals kind of have a tough, they play the Patriots this week, which we'll dive into in the Week 16 matchups. Then they have to play the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo next week with Josh Allen, still in the mix for MVP race. I mean, with Hurts going down, which is some people say that it shouldn't be the case because Hurts has had an MVP caliber season. But with him going down with the shoulder injury, it could kind of mix up the little Mahomes, Hurts, uh, Josh Allen debate.
Yeah, it'll depend on some stuff. Because I do say,
I was looking forward to that Jalen Hurts and that Cowboys game because I know Michael Parsons did, kind of was talking some crap. I mean, low key, they're like, oh, basically you're saying what has
that's
Jalen Hurts done without the stars he has? I mean,
what has Micah Parsons done with the Cowboys? What have the Cowboys done as a franchise in like 30 years?
that's
I
true. That's
mean,
true. But
I get it.
I mean, I was looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah.
To Jalen Hurts and see when
I
the
mean, they
shorter
need to worry
shorter
about Gardner Minshew because I fully think Gardner Minshew could beat that Cowboys team.
Yeah, I mean, he has a chance. I mean, obviously with the pieces they have, AJ Brown, um,
Right. Yeah. And it's
Smith.
not
I
like Minshew
mean,
doesn't know how to play quarterback.
oh yeah, yeah.
He has an arm. It's just that he was with the Jaguars when they were bad, and he just hasn't really gotten another opportunity since then.
Right, right. So the other game, I think the game before the Ravens game, the Vikings and Colts. Oh, that game was.
Jeff Saturday, I hope you're having fun coaching these few games because you're not keeping that job. You will be back on ESPN next season.
Oh man, like
I
I was in
mean,
a group
I
chat.
say
I
that
was in
jokingly. Like I can't fully blame him. He doesn't have any coaching experience, so when the lead was slipping away from him, he probably he probably tried some stuff. But it's I don't know. It's just the Colts organization as a whole. It's just there's a lot going on there because now they've benched Matt Ryan for the second time. They've turned to Nick Foles now. To be honest with you, I forgot Nick Foles was in Indianapolis. I was kind of wondering these past few weeks, like, when is Nick Foles going to pop up somewhere? Well, it turns out it's going to be in Indianapolis this week. They did the whole thing with the coaching situation, pulling Jeff Saturday from a network to come coach when they could have easily just taken a guy who's on the staff already and made them the interim coach. But Jim Irsay, in all of his wisdom, went the unconventional route. And I have serious questions like, after this season, if Saturday isn't there, what coach is going to want that job? Because the quarterback situation's a mess. Jonathan Taylor is starting to break down seemingly, and he's like your best offensive weapon. You have Pittman and Pierce at wide receiver. You can do some work there. They don't have a tight end. The offensive line is worse than it was supposed to be. And then the defense is, yeah, I guess. Stephon Gilmore's there. He's starting to get old. And we saw Justin Jefferson kind of have his way with him in the second half there. But yeah, I don't know. If I'm a young coach trying to get my first job, Indianapolis is not where I want to be.
No, but look, I mean, I guess the subject thing that Saturday can look at is look at Dan Campbell. Look with the Lions. I mean, they've had a culture where they were a poor team.
Dan Campbell was a coach previously, though.
Oh, well, I know that, but like this, I mean, I
I
know
was saying that's the
Saturday has,
difference.
yeah,
Yeah. But Campbell, when you see Campbell and you hear Campbell talk, it's like Campbell looks like the type where if you gave him a young team, not a lot of expectations, he'll find a way. He he seems like he can build like a real connection with his players and they want to play for him. I wonder with Saturday, like how many players were actually cool with Saturday being named the guy based off of him not being around the team. Well, I think he was like an advisor or something, but I mean, players probably didn't really talk to him like that. I feel like if Ursay picked one of the coordinators who are already there, they might have been playing better. I just think a lot of the players are just like, let's get through this season and let's see what else. We'll see what happens. That's just
right,
the way that I would think about it. But I mean, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I was in a group chat. I was like, "Yo, the Colts had this game in the bag," and all of a sudden, game shit just went downhill. The game just went downhill. I mean, there was times where the Colts had a chance to, the Colts had a chance to like steal the bag, but obviously with team with obviously they have a better quarterback with Kirk Cousins. They have a better receiving course with Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
A better running back with Dalvin Cook. I mean, with that run that he had, oh my gosh, that run that
I
kind
mean,
of
I
like.
can make the argument if Taylor's healthy. Taylor is right up there
I
with
mean,
Calvin. I don't, I
oh
don't, I don't
yeah,
know if I'd give that
but
like
I'm saying as
necessarily to
far as like
Dalvin Cook. But yeah, I
I'm
get what you're
saying
coming from. Yeah,
as of like right now,
yeah.
obviously yeah, injury problems. I know I get that. Taylor was what wasn't he like? Didn't he win an award last year for like Offensive Player of the Year or something like that?
He might
Or
have.
he was
I
in the
mean,
running for it.
he had a really good season last year. That much I remember.
But
Yeah.
that run by Devin Cook, man, to like set that momentum. The fact that he had his eye set on the end zone. He got knocked down a couple times, but he just didn't. He kept on going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just the fact that history was made that game. Like the only team in like the Super Bowl era had the team come back from like 33 points or more to win a game. That's just crazy. I
I mean,
think
it's
that
it's definitely tough to do.
I think that kind of like with me being a Ravens fan, that kind of like makes that feeling of the Miami losses kind of like all right. That's all right.
No, no, it doesn't. What?
Oh
The Ravens
man.
are a better team than the Colts. It shouldn't happen to Baltimore. So the
No,
Colts
no,
should be like,
I'm saying the way that Miami came back on us, the way that like the way they rallied their
that,
team around.
No, you shouldn't feel better about that one. Mm.
I mean,
I
but what
mean,
we
if
see
you want to
Miami,
compare
I mean, what
yourself
we see,
to a cult
well, I mean, what we
situation,
see Miami in the playoffs this year, I don't know. That's what it comes down to, man. That playoff
I mean,
spot.
that's more of their circumstance than that game. Because if the Dolphins don't make it, it'll be because Tua couldn't get the win over Buffalo. They couldn't find a win to beat New England on the road. That would be the reason to keep them out. Because um, I think what the Dolphins are on like a 4 game losing streak right now or something. So somebody on that team's got to figure out a way to get them out of this mess that they're in right now. Because, like you said, if it continues, they'll find themselves outside of the playoffs like the Jets. Not too long ago, the Jets seemed like a comfortable playoff team, and now look at them. They're probably going to miss it. The AFC's just been that close this year.
That's good. That's wild. And like you did make a bring up a good point with that. Like the AFC has been wild.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the NFC. I mean, you all know. I mean, the Eagles. But is this with that Giants, that Commanders, um, even the Packers? Like the Buccaneers are crazy that their records are trash, but they still have a chance to make their playoffs. It's like kind of like crazy
Yeah,
because like
it's like two different stories. The AFC is it's tight because of the quality of teams. The NFC, it's just a lot of unpredictability because even going into the playoffs, we don't know what Jalen Hurts will look like in a playoff situation. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, we don't know what they'll look like if they have a game prime time in the playoffs. What's that going to look like? Are we going to still see the team that doesn't seem to be able to win in prime time? If the Giants and Commanders were to make it in, what's that going to look like in the playoffs? The Cowboys have had talented teams in the past, have come up short. Will we get more of the same there? So, and even with Tampa Bay, if Tampa Bay gets in, looking at their possible matchups, it's not weird to see them be 8-9 or 9-8, win that division, and then still somehow find a way to an NFC Championship game.
that's wild, man. Because Tom Brady is still the quarterback. It's
Right,
crazy.
because your first matchup would be the Cowboys. We've seen the Cowboys in the playoffs, like I said, and then after that, you're looking at a matchup against Jalen Hurts, and like I said, this would be Jalen Hurts' first time being a favorite in a pressure-packed situation of a playoff game. How does he respond? And then after that, he'd be playing in an NFC title game against like Kirk Cousins or uh, Daniel Jones or something like that. It'll be like, well, of course you'd probably pick Tom Brady at that point. So, I don't know. The playoffs this year, both sides, it's just going to be weird and wild.
It's gonna be very interesting. Okay, so I guess that leads us on to like the week 17 or week 16 matchups
Picks,
or picks. Yeah. So I mean, obviously we Thursday night. Oh man, that's terrible on the 3-19.
terrible if you're a Jets fan. But if you're
I
somebody like
mean,
me who said a
there
couple weeks
were
ago that the Jags could win that division, I was loving every minute of it.
yeah no I think we all me you and Dylan all agreed on Jaguars winning in that division. But there were some moments in the game where, like, the Jets defense kind of held the Trevor Lawrence up, and the Jets had an opportunity to. I mean, I'm gonna say key phrase had the opportunity to, get the league closer. I think it was like 13-3, most of the
Mm-hmm.
game. I mean, they were. I mean, hurt. I mean, not hurt. I mean, Wilson is just like he's very inconsistent. There was a reason why Coach Saleh kind of benched him and put in Mike White. I mean, the fact that Mike White, I read that I think during the last or the game he was in with that rib injury, he had to get cleared by like I think a 10 or 11 doctors in order for him to play. And even that, he still wanted to play with a broken rib. Like that's saying something. Now, and I feel like Mike White has that better give the team that better swag. I mean, the players love him. But who the
Sure.
hell? But who the hell was that practice squad quarterback that came in. But
I
I
have no
mean,
idea who he was.
there were plays where like, damn, like he was running it. He was like, oh shit, shall I pass it? Shall I run it? Like he was like in the pocket trying to like decide what to do with it. But he gave
Yeah.
that. It's crazy how like when the quarterback comes in, like a different quarterback other than Wilson, like the whole game kind of changes. Like they're going down the field, almost in scoring position, almost got a touchdown, but had a 3-and-out. And it was funny to me that every time Wilson touched the field, like the boos were coming. But there was a lot of people like on the Twitter and like Facebook and like other platforms saying that why didn't they put in Joe Flacco, the more elite arm. I feel like they would have. I mean, he would have given a better chance to put up points, because they had that dog. I mean, they have a good receiver. I mean, not good, but they got a subpar receiver room with like Garrett Wilson. He's a dog. Elijah Moore played. I believe he has his shit straightened out with his issues. He's playing now. They got Corey. What's his?
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis. I mean, they had the receivers to like make plays. It's like Zach Wilson is not the man to do it. And like even in the press conference, he still didn't really take accountability for his actions. He kind of did, and then when he was like, I could have played better. I could have put my team in opportunities to win the game, which I guess you should say, but like he didn't say it was like my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, I mean, things has been spiraling, and like you said in the group chat, like they just were talking all this crap when they're in the number one team or in the division, and now look at them. Giants fans or Jets fans are quiet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know why they did, because Jets fans, they're passionate, like a lot of fan bases are, and I think for them, they understand that this defense is good enough to win that division and win a couple of games in the playoffs. Their issues are all at quarterback, and I think a lot of Jets fans probably fell in love with Zach Wilson when they drafted him, because that draft class, he was rated up like really highly as being I think they compared him to Mahomes when he was during his final year at BYU. So Jets fans assumed they were getting a Mahomes type of quarterback, which they thought would be enough to win that division and consistently get back to the playoffs, because they haven't been there in a while. Where now we're seeing the Mahomes comparison was definitely not warranted. And I don't even know what Zach Wilson is at this point. He has a strong arm, yes, but his decision making is terrible. And because of his arm, he takes way too many risks. So maybe you could look at him as a young Josh Allen. Because Josh Allen, there was a lot of questions about him his first few years in the league, but I don't see Zach Wilson making that type of transition. So then it's like, is Zach Wilson going to be Johnny Manziel, who came in with a lot of praise and then is gone in like a couple of years, and you're just like, well, that was just another failed experiment. So this upcoming season is going to be very important for him. Whatever lessons he needs to learn that Robert Saleh is hoping that he learns, he needs to figure it out now, because he may single-handedly destroy his own career without him necessarily knowing it right now. And it'd be I guess a sad story, because he is talented. It's just that he just hasn't put it all together yet. But as a Patriots fan, I don't care.
That's funny. Like you all talk. Are you like, oh, Zach Wilson has all this talent? Oh, Pittsburgh. I
love seeing the Jets miserable. I love it.
Yeah.
Because Jets fans, they're the first ones who will talk trash to the Patriots when they're down or they lose or something. And
yeah, I gotta come with that. Whew.
Yeah,
I got a couple of I have a couple of Jets fans that are crazy and like are diehard fans. They're like, oh, the Jets are that. Like y'all
yeah.
are,
It's like calm down.
but
But I get it. That's Northeast fandom right there. New York, Philly, Boston. That's how the fan bases are. Because
yeah,
we also talk about that in the group chat, like South
who?
fans versus the North fans,
Oh yeah.
and it's just too different.
So we have this is run down the. So we have Seahawks, Chiefs, Ravens, Falcons, Commander. Well, let's do the prime time. Well, they're all on Saturday except for the Packers game, Broncos game, and Buccaneers game. But
Yeah,
I guess the
you can
majority of
like
the
look
games
at
are
this week.
tomorrow.
Yeah, like Saturday is like a normal Sunday, and then Sunday is like a Saturday. That's how this schedule is this week because of Sunday being Christmas, of
Christmas
course.
and
But
stuff.
yeah,
Um, I guess look at the major games. I know. I guess prime time game on Sunday night or Saturday night would be the Raiders and Steelers. Pittsburgh are 2.5 or 2 point favors. Um,
yep. Basically,
they're
elimination game
both
for one of them.
they're both 6-8. Yeah. Um, Now if Kenny Pickett has clear concussion protocol, I would give the edge to the Steelers. But I mean, I'm not talking down
I
on
think I
Devontae
think
Adams
Pickett's
and
starting.
Carr. That's gonna be a good one. Like who do you have in that game? Because I mean, obviously, I feel like Adams is gonna tear through that Steelers cornerback room. Devontae Adams, I feel like Josh Jacobs gonna have a game, have a day. So I
He
would
could.
kind of have them as an upset. I mean, actually, that would be my upset probably. But I don't want to rush into that yet because I'm trying to still look at the schedule.
I like the Steelers in that one actually. I think Pickett coming back makes a big difference. I could see George Pickens having a good game against the Raiders. I could see T.J. Watt disrupting Derek Carr in that offense. I think I think Tomlin, with everything that's gone on this year, finds a way to keep his streak alive of his teams finishing above 500. In order to do that, the Steelers are gonna have to win out. But I'm not gonna count them. I'm not gonna count against Tomlin in terms of doing that. And I feel like Pickett has shown throughout this year that he can play winning football with this Steelers group. And I'm not gonna, overreact to the Raiders win last week against the Patriots and all that to all of a sudden think like they're this really good team or anything like that. I feel like these two teams are pretty evenly matched, and I just think the Steelers find a way to pull it off. Maybe it's the home field aspect to it, but I I, I think the Steelers get the win and pretty much eliminate the Raiders from playoff contention.
Yeah, like the fact that you brought up that both teams are like it's like a do or die, like win and you're in kind of situation for a playoff
Well,
spot,
win and stay alive at least.
or
Yeah.
win and stay alive. I feel like this is like it's going to be a hard nosed kind of game. Both
Mhm.
teams want to stay in a playoff hunt. Um, I just don't know who can stop Adams. I mean, on the cornerback side, I know Joe.
I'll tell you how you stop him. T.J. Watt hits Derek
Double team
Carr.
him. Yeah,
If T.J. Watt is in the backfield, then that's just less time Adams has to get downfield. And if he can't get downfield, then you can like bracket coverage against him in like the 10 to 15 yard area, and you kind of just take your chances and see if Derek Carr will look somewhere else or if he'll continue to try to force feed it to Adams. So I think the script is there for the Steelers to win it, and like I said, I think they pull it off.
yeah. So we had the game before that. Eagles and Cowboys. Obviously, Minshew is playing. So that hurts. Dallas is a 4.5 point favorite. Do you see them winning against the Eagles or do you give the Mitchell and the Eagles the upper hand?
So the Cowboys should win this game because I don't think the Eagles are going to be too dynamic because they might face each other in the playoffs. But I think Minshew finds a way. I think Minshew's going to take full advantage of this opportunity to start a game. And because of that, you know, he'll play the best game he's probably played in a while. And I think the Eagles defense will be able to, you know, stop the Cowboys offense, which has been kind of up and down these past few weeks. They had a good week last week, but like the prior weeks to that, something was missing. You know, Dak's been throwing more interceptions now than we're used to seeing. And yeah, I think the Eagles find a way to do it. And, you know, Cowboys fans will be upset, you know, Monday and Tuesday morning. But yeah, I think Minshew does it.
All right, all right, all right. Um, okay. I definitely see Detroit beating the Panthers. They're 2.5 point favorites, kind of in a small margin, but I definitely give them the edge over the Panthers. Now your Bengals play the Chiefs. I mean your Patriots play the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Bengals are 3 point favorites, so it's not really that high of a point differential. So who do you see winning that game?
That's pretty good for a road team. So they're
Yeah.
basically saying neutral field, you know, Bengals are like a touchdown favorite, which I can agree with. Um,
So you think the Bengals can will beat your Patriots, or you think Judon and that defense will get the Burrow?
well, Judon and Uche, it's going to be an
Oh yeah,
important
and
game for
Uche.
them. They're going to have to hit Joe Burrow. If
The
they
Patriots,
don't,
if the Patriots win,
I think the Bengals
you
win
can
this
help
one.
us. Yeah, because I think the Patriots can help my team out with the loss to the Bengals
Yeah,
or the win to the
Patriots
Bengals.
ain't worried about your team. They worry about themselves at this point.
Shoot,
And after
well, they will
losing,
be.
I'm saying after losing to Minnesota Thanksgiving, after losing to the Raiders last week,
Oh yeah,
their margin
that
of
loss was
error
terrible.
is pretty slim. And
That's why I
although,
think they. That's why I think they're gonna win because like they had more to like win than lose. I mean, basically they control their own destiny at this point.
yeah, they do. They have a 14% chance of getting in. If they win
14.
out, they make it no matter what anybody else does. And I think I would be right there with you if the Bengals weren't playing for something either. The Bengals are trying to win the division. The
Yeah,
Bengals still have a shot at the number one seed. So I think they're going for that as well. The worry is that the Bengals offensively just have so many weapons. Now Hayden Hurst isn't going to play, so that
yeah,
does help a
he got
little bit.
rolled out
But
for.
yeah, but you have Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Mixon. That's a lot. So Judon, Uche,
Oh
Bentley,
no,
Bentley in the middle.
a key piece that is missing next game is Hubbard on the defensive side. Their
Yeah, yeah,
linebacker. That's a big piece. So
yes. That
um,
helps because the Patriots' offensive line has been struggling, but they still have Hendrickson. So that's good. I mean, that's where this game's going to come down to. It's Judon Uche, Bentley in the middle, the linebackers, because he's going to be the one who's going to have to stop Mixon in the running game. The secondary, you know, secondary is good. It's just that we'll have to see if they could cover all three of these guys. But I think the Bengals get this one, and I mean it's tough to say for me, but I I just don't like what they're doing, what the Patriots are doing offensively to make me think they'll be able to stick with this Bengals offense. But Belichick's surprised people before. You know, when you count New England out, his teams find a way sometimes to just, you know, steer people the wrong way. It's just I just don't have any faith in the offensive game plan week in and week out, like what it's going to look like. So I got to go with the Bengals.
all right, well, that's a good pick. I mean, well, Vikings, Giants. The Vikings are a 4 point favorite. I think the Vikings will beat them.
Yep.
Um, Titans,
Well, the Vikings can't
Texans.
play the way they did against the Colts again.
Oh no, they have to have a hot start against the Giants. A hot
Yes.
start.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I mean, the Ravens play Falcons. I mean, they're a 6.5 point favorite, like that they should. Desmond Ritter's starting. So let
Hmm.
me just focus on Baltimore, right? So,
Okay.
so there has been a lot of conversation on Twitter, another sports outlet, saying that like the question is, what should we do with Lamar Jackson? Or the question is, what should Lamar do with the Ravens? Because should Lamar, obviously, we all know that no Harbaugh and Eric DaCosta has made it known that they want to keep Lamar Jackson because that's their franchise player, but they haven't really proven to me or the Ravens community that they want to keep Lamar because they haven't really given him the pieces around Lamar, like top tier receivers. Um, so what?
And they
So
drafted like 2 in the first round.
yeah, well, Bateman was injury prone. He didn't really, play.
I mean,
I mean, other
not
than
to say
Duvernay,
that's not to say the Ravens didn't try to get him
well,
somebody. They couldn't help
but I'm saying, like, I mean,
Bateman
would
getting
you
hurt.
rate Bateman as like a top 5 as Adams and
He was
Diggs?
drafted in the first round. A lot of
Yeah,
quarterbacks don't get that.
that's true. But Bateman hasn't really seen the field like that because he's been injury prone, and that's not really the Ravens' fault. I mean, he's hasn't really been able to stay healthy.
Okay.
But I'm
Duvernay,
saying as far as like,
first round.
Duvernay, he's probably the only one who has been. I mean, Prochet hasn't really had a much field time, whatever. Like,
That's
but
fair.
Duvernay has really proven to me that he's the number one target. But obviously, he got hurt. He's not going to be able to play.
Didn't they give him Mark Andrews?
Yeah, Mark Andrews, yes, but he hasn't had a touchdown since like he's been kind of quiet lately, but he still is our answer.
You could put that at the doorstep of the man who's throwing him the ball.
I mean, yeah, he did. He
Okay.
did. Chop,
Well,
he did.
There's
he
more
did,
to it though.
He did drop a touchdown pass
J.K.
on.
Dobbins.
No, I'm saying there's. Yeah,
He's got pieces there.
but I'm saying
Look at
like
their
as far
defense. They went and traded for Roquan Smith.
Yeah, no. I'm saying on just the opposite side. This like I'm saying in the past, like free agency, the like you said before, Josh Allen was not the best QB. I mean, he was coming into the draft, like at the draft, like his arm was needed to be worked on.
He
But
just
still,
had
like
accuracy issues.
Yeah, just like Lamar has accuracy issues. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But now they got Diggs, they got Davis. The Ravens have been kind of like, I wouldn't say scared, but they've been kind of like veering off towards, obviously the O-line is important for protecting the quarterback, but as far as getting like a top tier receiver, as far as like, on the list of like, a Cooper Kupp or like a D Hop or like a
Here would be my question. D Hop, Cooper Kupp play a certain style of wide receiver. Does that fit Lamar Jackson's
I believe so.
quarterback profile?
Lamar can throw. I've said several times on this show and other shows that Lamar can sling the freaking ball. Imagine if he had like a go get it receiver, like how about a Jefferson, or we just need a big body receiver. You know what I'm saying? We don't really have any big body receivers like a Keenan Allen or like a Mike Williams. You know what I'm saying? A person who can like go grab it. You know what I'm saying? Like we've had like Duvernay on the RPOs, the jet sweeps, the play action. I get that, but
most big body receivers are more like possession type receivers. They don't necessarily go down the field.
Right. So I guess my question to you is like, if you're a part of the Ravens organization, like front office, it's the off season. What do you do with Lamar? I mean, do you sit down with him and say, hey, or first let me put you in Lamar's position. Like you're the an elite quarterback. You've gone into the season on your last year of your contract. Going into the season, you want to prove that just like an Aaron Judge, like you want to prove that you're worth the money you're getting.
Yep.
So the offseason comes around, playoffs, and depending on how far we get into the playoffs, like that is a factor because how deep we get into the playoffs, whatever. But okay, Super Bowl winner is Super Bowl winner. Offseason is in play. You're Lamar Jackson. what do you come to the? I mean, obviously he doesn't have an agent too. So, what what questions are you asking the front office as in
Okay.
terms of how, in order for me to, in order for y'all to keep me, what can y'all bring to the table for me to stay here? Because he said that he wants to continue playing at Raven. I mean, obviously, as far as right
Every
now,
player says that when they're part of the team. He has to say that. He couldn't sit there and be like, "Look,
but I
man,
feel like he
I'm trying to
deeply.
get
I
up
feel like
out of here." They'd be like,
yeah.
"What?"
I mean, I feel like deeply, and I think like deeply down inside, he does have a place in Baltimore. I feel like he should stay in Baltimore. That's his. I mean, but I want to put you in Lamar's shoes. Like, what questions do you have for the front office of, hey, I know I'm getting this big contract coming
Mm-hmm.
to the next year. Like, what can y'all prove to me that y'all can, help me out with this with this? Because obviously he put the contract negotiation off. He said week one, like we're not talking about no
Yeah.
contract negotiations at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but now the gates are the gates are open, contracts
Mm-hmm.
are on the table. Um, Tell me, man, what are you thinking as Lamar Jackson?
So let's see. So
There's a
for
lot
me,
of
okay,
factors.
I'm trying to keep my own mentality out of this because if I
Yeah.
was actually Lamar Jackson, I'd probably go about it a little differently. But as Lamar Jackson, I would probably sit there and be like, "Okay, is is anything offensively going to change? Are we going to change philosophy in any way? We're going to continue to be run first? Are we, you know, is there ever going to be a moment where you're going to let me spread the ball around and kind of do some work?" If they say no, because we're kind of built our team to be a run first team and we want you to be, a play action type quarterback. Okay, then let's do that. So, in terms of wide receiver, is there any, are you guys open to upgrading, bringing in somebody new, or are these the guys that we're going to stick with? Because I get it, you've drafted wide receivers in the first round past few years, so maybe you're not doing that anymore. But you know, in terms of free agency, are you planning on bringing in somebody new? See what they say to that. Maybe after that, you go. Would you think about bringing in? I'm trying to think what. 'Cause I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird coming at it from his aspect. Like if I was coming from the team, I would know exactly what the team would say to him. But all right, so I guess Lamar would probably go like, all right, so we're looking at numbers here. Now, I feel like I'm up there with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, guys like that. But how do you view me? That's probably his first question. Like, how do you view me in terms of the quarterbacks in the AFC? And if they say, "Look, Lamar, let's be honest here. You know, are you Josh Allen? No. Are you Patrick Mahomes? No. Are you Justin Herbert? No. We view you on Justin Fields level,
Man,
whatever that means. Justin
if
Fields."
they said that, I'm walking out the door. No
So
contract.
Lamar hears that. Now, how does Lamar take that though? Does Lamar take that as Justin Fields? What's he done? Or does he look at it as, okay, Justin Fields is a guy who can run, who can throw. He's not. It's just weird because what Lamar Jackson does at quarterback, it's hard to kind of, you know, extrapolate that over the next few years as opposed to Allen and Mahomes because those are guys who, yeah, they move around in the pocket, but their greatest attribute is their arm. Whereas Lamar Jackson's greatest attribute is his athleticism. And I think the part that's going to scare Baltimore, maybe in terms of giving him crazy money, is that are we assured that you can last the next 5 years? Lamar will probably tell him, yeah, I keep myself fit. I, if you guys want me to run less, We can do that. But if you want me to run less, then we're going to have to change this offense up a little bit. Because a lot of times I'm running because I'm probably the best equipped to, get us a first down with my legs necessarily over my arm. And I think that conversation is going to be interesting. But like you said, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'd go, look, Deshaun Watson got this money from Cleveland. To you, am I better than Deshaun Watson? If the team goes, I guess, then maybe he could feel some type of way about that. If he goes, Russell Wilson got this from Denver. I'm better than Russell Wilson right now, so I want more than Russell Wilson. But the team could say, Denver made that mistake. We can't make that mistake because we want. Actually, that might be his question. Russell Wilson got this. I'm better than him. I'm willing to take less than Russell Wilson if you tell me what you would do with the money. And whatever their plan is, Lamar can decide off of that. If they just tell him, yeah, we'll use it. We'll bring in a third wide receiver, whether it's, I don't know, player X, and Lamar goes, okay, I want you to bring him here. And then they say defensively, we'll get so and so, and we're going to tweak the offense a little bit because we're worried about you running so much. We want you to become a better passer who can still run. Maybe just hearing that, Lamar will be like, okay, I will sign. I don't need the most money. I just want to know that you're invested in me as a quarterback and that you think that you could win a Super Bowl with me as your quarterback. So that's probably the only question he probably really needs to ask.
So I guess I'll go, and then we'll go, and then we'll think about
I guess go
think of it
from the
as
team's angle. Yeah,
the
yeah.
organization. So as a Lamar, I'm coming in like this, man. Big trust, baby. no, no, no. But all seriousness, though, if I was Lamar Jackson, the first question I'd be like, okay, we're about to be 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is a question for any like promotion or any job, new job offer. Where do you see me in the next 5 to 10 years, or short term, 5 years? I would say like, okay, look,
That would probably give the organization an easy out because they'll just be like, "Oh, we want to win a Super Bowl."
yeah. So like, but that'd be the first. Like, where do you see me? I guess let me rephrase the question. I guess where do you see me in the future
Mm-hmm.
as his quarterback? You know, um, but like you said, like where. I mean, the AFC is only getting better with the quarterbacks and talent. So where do you see me? I mean, obviously you see me throw the ball down the field, but what if y'all want to win a Super Bowl? Say next year, like you said, what pieces can we get to get there? Because people know that I can run the ball,
Mm-hmm.
but people are saying that if I my shelf life as a quarterback can only be this much. So
Mm-hmm.
how can you prevent me from running the ball so much in order and to keep me in that pocket more, so I can be able to pass the ball on a consistent level? What should we do with the O line? Because obviously the quarterback is nothing but an O line. First of all, we do have we did get Leonard Bunk, which I think he got snubbed for a Pro Bowl. That's my opinion. He definitely deserved the Pro Bowl. Obviously, he's a rookie, but I know that's hard to make your rookie year. But I feel like he's shown enough on the O line this year that he deserves a bid for the Pro Bowl. But um, what can we get on the O line? What receivers can we get to help us that fits my ability? I respect that y'all have made this offense around my talent, but what pieces can push us to the brink of having a great defense and a great offense? That's the first question. Number two, as Lamar, I'd be like, but like you say, you bring up a point, like the Watson contract. I mean, this man has not played a whole two full seasons, damn near,
Mm-hmm.
and has gotten a 5 year what, or was it a 5 year deal? 5 year, two
I
thirty
think so. I
million.
can't remember. Yeah, it was something like that.
Where do you see myself?
I know why he got that deal, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, because I mean the Browns valued him. I mean, that was the best QB on the market at that time. You know what I mean? Like
But even looking at Watson and Lamar,
Lamar's better.
Watson's skill set based off of how he was in Houston, I think he's better than Lamar. The only thing that makes the contract wild is that we hadn't seen Watson in 2 years, and we don't even know if Watson's going to get back
To
to
that
that
level.
level.
Yeah.
But if he does, Watson will be a scary quarterback in that division.
Yeah. So, and then if I'm Lamar, I'd be like, listen, I don't have an agent. I'm representing myself. I want to see your numbers. Where do y'all see me? I mean, if y'all want to value me as a franchise quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
what are y'all's numbers? And then Lamar will talk to, I guess, his mom. I think his mom is his agent, I think.
I
Or
think so.
his
Yeah, I
like
think I heard something
his
like that.
small team of trusted people.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go back
which
home.
I
Talk to,
respect that too.
I do too. I mean, I
Yes.
think he's the only one with like Bobby Wagner. I think who's representing himself. I think it's some other players too. I think
Mm-hmm.
Metcalf is the one that doesn't have an agent either.
Yep.
So that's cool. I mean, I'll get your numbers. I mean, let me go back home over some dinner, talk about this with my family. Come back with you. I'll tell you my numbers and see if we can match this numbers, match these numbers. But if I'm Lamar, I would be asking more questions than the organization would be asking Lamar. I mean, I'd be like, hey, where do y'all see me talent wise? I mean, if you've seen that Josh Allen was not as good of a QB coming into the league, but obviously he's gotten better with the weapons
Mm-hmm.
he has had. Gabe Davis, I mean, I know came in as a rookie, I think, and then Diggs, is a well established wide receiver in the league. So what receivers can you bring to the table with this money? I know the cap space might be a little tight, as far as signing players. Obviously, like I said for the topic for our Monday night show, that we now have another thing with Roquan Smith. He's another rookie that's on a rookie deal, and should we sign? I mean, should we sign him first to be the leader of that defense, and then franchise tag Lamar, or franchise tag Raquan and then sign Lamar? And that's another question because, I mean, Raquan, that was a terrific signing that we had for that staple of that defense. To hold that line with Queen. That's an awesome move. But if I'm Lamar, I'm
Unless
like,
you
damn.
re-sign him.
Yeah, I mean that's our goal. I mean, I would think to re-sign Raquan, if the money's right. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he plays like a Raven. He fits that scheme. Hard nose. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you can brush it off if you as long as you want to, but I
Well,
mean
I was just trying because when you said he plays like
the
a
way
Raven, it's like it's been a couple of games. You don't know that, but I
couple
think
of
I
games,
get
but
where you're
he
coming
he,
from.
he had a couple picks and like he sat a couple of sacks like here and there, like
No, I get where you're
um.
coming from.
But he holds that could be our centerpiece for building around that
Right.
defense. Obviously, Queen's there. I would say Roquan. Even that's crazy. I've always think that Roquan is older than Patrick Queen, but Roquan's at 25, so it's not like or 26, so he's still young. I mean, I thought he was like he played like a veteran, like he plays like a young Patrick Willis or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like who has room to like be that Ray Lewis of that middle linebacker group, that leader. And he's still young. He still has a lot of talent to withhold
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm Lamar, I'm like, bro, like Ravens, Harbaugh, Eric DeCosta, what are y'all doing? What are y'all plans for the foreseeable future? Like with this team going into next year? How can you help me be the best QB I can be for in the AFC to come? Because like I said, the AFC is getting tougher. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting conversation in the off season. But yeah, now let's turn the manager cap on. How would you go about from the
dealing with Lamar.
managerial side?
Yeah. So he comes in, he sits down. I would go, okay, we've been at this for a few years now, and of course we'd want you back because to us we feel like you have more value here than you would going anywhere else. I mean, they can't necessarily ask him like, if you don't re-sign here, where are you looking to go? Because Lamar probably doesn't know that. But
Right,
for me, looking around the league, I'd be like, Lamar, you don't necessarily fit in a lot of places because of your unique play style.
right.
And we feel like since we know you best, we know what pieces work best around you. And people on the outside may not see that, but if you look at the team that we have, we're going to win 10, 11 games a year. So if we're doing that, then clearly we're doing something right because a lot of teams that don't do that consistently. So, yes, have we won a Super Bowl yet? No. Are we close? I think we're close. And just a little bit of a tweak to the roster here or there, we're right back in the same situation next season. So, I mean, if that's what you want, you can stay here. At what number? I mean, they will obviously wouldn't say this to him, but I just pulled up quarterback salaries, and Aaron Rodgers, 3 years, 150 million, 50 million a year. Would I pay that for Lamar? I wouldn't, but Lamar's probably not looking for a 3 year deal, so we'll wipe that out off the board.
So he's looking for
Russell,
like long term. Yeah,
I'm assuming he wants
yeah.
your standard 5 year deal, whatever. I mean, Josh Allen did 6 years. Patrick Mahomes did 10 years. I
That's
don't
crazy.
think Baltimore goes 10 years because, once again, as the managerial part of it, do have some concerns about past couple of years you getting hurt at the end of the year. With some of that being because maybe you run a little too much. So we get that. Looking at 5 year deals, Russell Wilson 5 years, 245 million. We can't go that high because we want to improve. We want to continue to improve around you, Lamar. So don't worry about those numbers. Kyler Murray 5 years, 230 million.
Fuck.
That's
Jeez.
still a little high. Still a little high. We gotta pull it back a little bit. Deshaun Watson 5 years, 230. Once again, still too high. Dak Prescott 4 years, 160 million. Maybe that's a little bit more workable for us. So how do you feel about that, Lamar? Now, if Lamar goes, no, I want to set the new market, then it's like we couldn't possibly do that because if we signed you to a Russell Wilson type of deal, that means you're going to lose some pieces here, and I mean it might be another couple of years before we're back to where we are right now. And once again, if you think you could get that money somewhere, you know what? Feel free, go out, find that money, and then come back to us, and we'll see if maybe we can make it work at that point. I think that's all they really can say at this point. They have to know what Lamar is trying to do. Is he just trying to be comfortable? Not
I
necessarily be
think
the
yeah. I
highest
think
paid,
for me, I think he's
but
just trying to be like the
somewhat near
best.
the top.
I feel like yeah. I feel like he wants to be in that Josh Allen, Mahomes. I think he's just a few playmakers away, like a few receivers away from getting there. I mean, he
Well,
has Mark
how
Andrews
many
there.
receivers are you expecting us to bring in here? We can't load up on wide receiver and neglect other aspects of the team.
That's that's the most trickiest part,
I still
in the
say,
offseason.
looking at Lamar, the type of receivers that will work with him are probably bigger, intermediate area wide receivers. I honestly don't see Lamar as the type who's just going to air it out and consistently throw deep balls. I don't think he's that type of guy.
I mean,
So we
we
don't.
don't know because he hasn't had he hasn't had that.
I just don't see it with him. I see him as your
I mean,
slant route.
at this point, like Eugene and like other people who can't, and other people who don't know, who have doubt in his throwing arm, are just assuming that he's going to have a career where he doesn't, you know, haven't
I
had to have
I'm
that
just saying
consistency.
I see him as a guy who's comfortable throwing like slant routes, curl routes, guys over the middle.
Yeah,
If you're gonna sit here and then go out spend money on speed burner types on the outside, I think you're doing a disservice to Lamar Jackson. I don't think he's that kind of guy. You want to bring in, you said like DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is known as outside the numbers, flying down the field, contested catches, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's the type of guy you want to bring in for Lamar. And then you've also talked about Anquan Bolden. Anquan Bolden was a guy who went over the middle, made tough catches. Those types of guys are what Lamar needs. So,
I mean, I don't know who's on who can compare to Income Boda in the market. I don't know as
I was
far
saying
as
you don't
like
necessarily need a big body like that, but you need
yeah,
guys who will go over the middle. It may not be, a pass that's like right on them. They might have to stretch a little bit for it, but you need guys who aren't afraid to do that. And because look who his favorite receiver is now. Mark Andrews. Why? Because Mark Andrews is a target in the middle of the field.
yeah.
That's why. And that's where Lamar's comfortable throwing it. Because you start throwing outside the numbers, and the accuracy issues there are more noticeable because if you're off a little bit on a throw outside the numbers, it could sail out of bounds. You could throw it too far inside and it gets picked off. Across the middle of the field, got more room to work with. So that's why I'm like, it's going to be tricky to try to compare him with Josh Allen, Mahomes, Herbert. Those guys are known for just throwing the ball all around the field. Where like I said, Lamar is more. I'm trying to think of who is comparable in that same aspect. Because even Kyler Murray likes throwing it downfield outside the numbers. He may not be the best
I mean,
combination
Lamar
because I
might be
would
in the
say
world of and it's turn the quarterback. I mean, Lamar might be in the world of his own. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just Lamar, man. Like knowing he's in
okay.
the
So
world of this.
even if you go about it that way, that
Yeah,
still poses other questions because it's like one, as I said before, does his style of play with running the ball is that something that's sustainable? Because there's been other guys who could run around the pocket and they didn't last as long
yeah.
because
That's a question that I
they
would
started
pose to
getting
the
hit
team.
more and
Like
more and more.
that's a question that he should pose to the team at the table. Like, hey, how can you prevent me from? I mean, obviously, yeah. If I see a gap, I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it hard and run it. But how can y'all protect me from getting hurt? Because obviously, I mean, the Bills.
I think the only way you really do that is
I mean, their O line has
you
as
probably change the playbook a little bit. Maybe you
I feel like Greg
incorporate
Roman. I feel
more
like Greg
screen
Roman is
play.
the issue too. He's an issue too because like his plays are just
But
questionable.
he's had success with Roman. I don't know if I can
Yeah,
put that all on Roman. I just think
but I don't think
it's
Roman
almost
is
the same
let.
thing. Mike Vick.
Yeah,
Mike Vick was one of those guys that he had a really good arm. He wasn't accurate. He could outrun a lot of people, and because of that, I don't think he worked on his accuracy as much because in the back of his mind it was like, worst comes to worst, I'll just scramble out of the pocket and I'll just run by people. Not saying
right.
Lamar thinks the same way. It's just that will Lamar get better as a deep ball thrower and a thrower outside the numbers? I don't know that. And I feel like Baltimore can't really compensate for that either. And that's the tricky part. Because if Lamar does get better at that, then he becomes that much better of a quarterback. and then you kind of change the way you build a team. But the way the team's built right now, if they bring Lamar back, I don't see it changing much because the way it's built right now fits Lamar's style. Now you can ask the question about Harbaugh and them whether or not that style in today's NFL will ever win you anything. But for the guy that they have, it kind of is what it is at this point and what they need to do.
Yeah, because the Ravens are. I mean, I feel like they're in a tough. I mean, I never get catching up to like the 2.5 hour mark, so I gotta, end it with the final picks
It's
and
tough. It's tough either way.
yeah. I mean, it's
Because even
tough
from
being
Lamar, it's like if
it's
he
like
goes
it's like
somewhere else,
we
where does he go?
right. And then and another point is like if I'm a Ravens like owner or like manager like of that organization like in house, it's like hard because like you said, when you're playing that role of like Lamar and like both Lamar in the managerial aspect of it, you said that hey, we are not in a rebuilding state. We are in a win now Super Bowl mode. So they're in a hole where yes, they can make the office better, but
Mm-hmm.
I do want Lamar to get his money because he deserves his money. Like, yeah, I feel like he deserves like whatever he gets. At the end of the day,
He'll get
whatever
money. It's whether or not he gets as much as he
he
wants.
wants. But
He'll get a contract somewhere.
the
But
problem to like the
here's the question:
problem,
you want to stay in Baltimore or go play in Atlanta? Because Atlanta will
Baltimore.
probably give him money because they'll need
But
a
who?
quarterback. But
But Atlanta.
do
But
you
who
want to play
has
in Atlanta?
pieces? But they don't have pieces.
I'm just so from Baltimore's point of view.
Really
This
just
is
went
the
to
stuff I gotta say.
Jacksonville. Yeah,
But I'm saying this is what Baltimore's gonna look at it. You want to go to
yeah.
Atlanta?
That's why the
You want to go
Ravens have the
play?
upper.
You want to go
That's why
play
the
in
Ravens
New
have the.
Orleans?
Yeah, that's why the Ravens I think have the upper hand in this situation because like with the term of negotiations because like hey, I mean the only suitable team that kind of like Lamar will want to go to will probably be Miami because they got Tua and Waddle. That's the only team that I see them making like, but other teams like with other
But there's already
teams
been
it's like
questions about Tua throwing to Tyreek
yeah
Hill.
that's true and I feel like too
I don't know if that gets better.
I feel like they want to keep Tua in a way to see if he
Mhm.
can like kind of like progress. I want to see them moving on from Tua, and I would say if Tua had like come back from the injury, I would say if Tua had a bad outing, I would say yeah, turn to Lamar. But like you're right, like what team fits? I mean, do you see him in the LA Chargers uniform next year? I mean, do you see him in a Tampa Bay
No,
uniform next year? Like I couldn't see
he's not
that. You know
taking
what I'm saying?
Herbert's job.
I
Do you
feel like
see him with
Baltimore
the
is like the
Rams?
right. Chicago? Hell no.
No,
Eagles,
no.
no, because they got hurts. Um, Packers, no.
There is
Um,
one spot that he could go. My only thing is they probably wouldn't give him the money that he needs. San Francisco,
yeah, because then
but
with
they have
him and
Trey
Debo
Lance.
Samuel, yeah,
Only thing would be, do they
and
want to
Purdy,
give Trey Lance? Well, I mean, Purdy's not their future
yeah,
plans, but
yeah,
if the Niners could get Lamar Jackson, they might do it and then probably trade Trey Lance somewhere. But that's a situation where they run a run heavy offense. A lot of their passing plays are, you know, not it's not dynamic passing game. They just have dynamic playmakers who you just get the ball in their hands, they can kind of make magic happen. Which is kind of what Baltimore does. Like you said, they run, reverses with Duvernay because they know you put the ball in Duvernay's hand, he's got great speed, he can make something happen. And with Kyle Shanahan, he would make a way. Only problem is I don't know if the Niners would be in the running for him, so that would probably be the leverage where Lamar could be like, hey, I could go to San Francisco and play with a much better team, pretty good coach, in a division that's not that daunting. The Rams are down, Cardinals are down, the Seahawks are a little bit better, but maybe in Seattle with Pete Carroll, I don't know. I just don't think there's a lot of options for Lamar, and that's where Lamar's going to get stuck. Like, will they just come back with the same offer they offered this offseason that I turned down? Is that just going to be the offer now? And do I want to take that? If I turned it down before, would I take it now?
yeah. So I'm definitely excited to see like once the Super Bowl ends and like all season starts to kick in to play. Like I'm excited to see what I mean, obviously we won't know what the conversations are going to be like in the room, but I mean it's going to be very interesting to see like because
Oh, we
obviously
might.
was
Some
it
of
was
these insiders might come up with something like, "I'm hearing the Ravens are offering this. I'm hearing Lamar wants that." We might get one of those in the offseason.
yeah. And the fact that he didn't want to take any like press questions about like contract, and I get that he wants to focus on the year and everything going into
Have
the
no problem
year.
with that. Yeah.
No, yeah, no issue with that. I feel like that would be a distraction to like the team, and so he cut off
Yeah,
all
because they'll just ask him every
contract
week. So,
negotiations.
Lamar, are you closer to a contract now, or have your numbers changed? And be like, I don't care right now. I'm
Right,
just trying to win ball games. So, yeah,
exactly. But who knows? Like, who knows? Like, from this conversation till now, till then, like, say if Lamar comes back against the Bengals, or maybe they rest him to the playoffs when they get that berth. If how deep they get to the playoffs. Will they get to the AFC Conference Championship? Will they get to the Super Bowl? Possibly. Just
that
I'm just putting it out
that
there.
would
Like
help them. That would help them for
how
sure.
yeah, definitely. Like, and so whatever we're saying right now could be bullcrap by the time that happens. I'm not saying it's bullcrap what we're saying. I'm saying like it could change.
Yeah, yeah.
Depending on like, how far we get. Because the storyline is yes, Lamar has like what it's like 35 or 40 wins and 13 win losses in the season, but the critics come is where the critics come into play is how Lamar can push this team deeper to the playoffs. And I think he's 1-3 in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
If he can improve his playoff record, um, and I mean, I think that, and like as I've said before, like when playoffs happen, I mean, records are 0-0. I mean, anything can happen. Anything can happen at any given time. This reminds me of like me being a diehard Ravens fan. This reminds me of like I'll compare it to the. I mean, obviously on the other side we had Jacoby Jones and like Anquan Bolden on the other side. But I compare it to like that Ray Lewis every defensive playoff run because like if we can get deep into the playoffs, it can contend with our defense. Obviously, yes, we got to put up points. Yes, that's important, but I feel like our defense can go up against anybody. It definitely looks different than last year. Obviously, we didn't make the playoffs at all.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a healthy Marlon Humphrey. We have now Peters. I know he's hurt. We got Williams. We signed him. I know Calais Campbell's hurt, but he might be back by playoff time. That was a big blow for this week's game. But I feel like our defense can contend with anybody in the playoffs. I mean, I feel like with adding addition to Raquan Smith in the middle, that changes our defense in the middle of how we can either blitz the quarterback or be like a lure, kind of like a middle linebacker who can pick off an interception. You know what I'm saying, or
Mm-hmm.
a pass. So, but obviously with that, I mean, it wouldn't matter if the defense stops plays if we can't put up points. But I know that is a factor. Better in
Yep.
playoffs is scoring points and stopping team on defense. If we can stop team on defense and kind of have a lead against these teams and just
Mm-hmm.
don't take the foot off the pedal, we can contend with any team. I don't give a crap if it's the Eagles, if it's the Cowboys, Gene. I'm coming for y'all. Key, I don't care. We will defend
I'm with
anybody.
you. You don't have to worry about them yet because you got to get past Kansas City,
No, I
Buffalo.
know
Yeah,
that. But I'm saying
but
we can contend with anybody in the freaking NFL in the playoffs. Like I have that much confidence in our defense that
mm-hmm.
I mean, if Lamar, I mean, I I don't want to be conspiracy theorist, but I think that Lamar, yes, he's dealing with a PCL strain, but I think he's low key healthy. I think they're just keeping him straight for the playoffs. I mean, obviously they might bring him back for the Bengals game. I mean, there's no need to play him with the
I mean,
Falcons.
that's yeah, there is.
I mean, yeah, there's a
You
point, but I
need
mean,
you need wins. You're behind Cincinnati in the division.
I know, but if we win, we
Those
get to the
weeks that
playoff
you
run.
had weaker competition and you lost a couple of those games, might end up hurting you in the end.
Because no one
Because those are
really
games
has.
that if you'd won, you'd still be ahead of Cincinnati right now, and you'd be able to be like, okay, we're a game or two up on Cincinnati. Lamar, don't play against Atlanta because if we lose that, who cares? We've got the
I
Steelers next
mean,
week. Even
yeah,
then,
you're right.
fine.
You're right,
But
but
now, if the Bengals win this week, and let's say the Ravens find a way to lose to the Falcons, now it's a 2-game lead for Cincinnati, which means you now have to beat the Steelers and then the Bengals the last week just to get a tiebreaker. And then at that point, you win the tiebreaker because you would have won the season series against Cincinnati. Yeah, but that's that's a dangerous way to go about it, though.
that's a scenario. Yeah, definitely for sure. But
But
nobody
do you want
nobody had
your
really
season to
keen.
come down to a game against the
No,
Bengals, who
definitely
could be
not.
even hotter by then? No,
Definitely not. But I think hey, the Bengals, it can be the same thing as the Bengals. Bengals can mess up and lose to the Patriots, get blown out by the Bills, lose to the Ravens.
there's a difference, though. I think the Bengals, if they had to go on the road to Kansas City, they've already beaten Kansas City, so they're like, okay, fine. We know our weapons can work out there. If they have to go to Buffalo, fine. I don't think the Ravens are as confident. I think for the Ravens, they would love it if those teams had to go to their building. But the odds of that happening at this point, I don't even
Because
think
I
that's
feel like
possible. I
having
don't think
because I feel like having a healthy Gus Edwards and a healthy Dobbins, in the playoffs. I mean, the
that
Chiefs,
just feeds into the
we
same
we have
conservative style.
we
So
have
now,
known,
but now
we
your
have known that.
defense has to hold Herbert, Mahomes, and guys like that to
Yeah, but we've known
16
that the
points,
Chiefs, but
17.
we know that the Chiefs' rushing defense is terrible. So that's a one thing that we can look
That
forward.
doesn't matter.
I
If their
mean, yeah,
offense scores quickly and the Ravens find themselves down, and then the Ravens go on like a 10-minute drive and kick a field goal, all they did was waste time. And then let's say Kansas City comes back, scores another touchdown. Blink of an eye, you're down 14-3, and your offense is still methodically moving down the field. That's why I say when it comes to certain teams in the AFC, the Ravens may have issues because the Ravens are built to get an early lead and then kill clock and
yeah, or like
force
maintain
your
that
team
lead.
to
Yeah.
go, and then force your team to like slowly work their way down the field until the point where they kind of get over aggressive trying to
Yeah,
make plays because they're running out of time,
that's
and
kind of what
then
happened in the Miami game.
and
I
then the
mean, like
Ravens
we were
make a
up there, and
yeah, then the Ravens like pick off a pass and they're fine. But if that doesn't happen, how does the Ravens game plan go?
it's questions, man. But yeah, before we end, let's go do our picks real quick, and then we can just end it. It's been
Okay.
a good show. I mean, it's been a great show.
Yeah.
But I guess my lock. Hmm, I will go. I will go with my Ravens, but I'm gonna go with the Bills. Bills play with Chicago. That should be a somewhat easy game. I mean, I know it's in Chicago though. Cold
Hmm.
weather. I mean, Bills are used to that anyway, being in Buffalo. But that shouldn't be an issue. I would say I would say if they were playing in like a warm weather, state, they would be different, like in Miami. But they both play in like the cold tundras of snow. So I wouldn't really factor in the weather. So I would say that's my lock. I would say the Ravens are my lock because they're a 6.5 point favorite. But I mean, I'm going. I mean, that's kind of I wouldn't say guaranteed win, but I know that they should win that game. No, just knowing that the fact that they have if they win, they're in the playoffs.
Hmm.
So I guess they would be wanting to win that game. And especially with Desmond Ritter, I don't. We're gonna get to him most of the time. Like I have faith in Justin Houston and um, Adafia Owe and Kwam. We're gonna get to him. I feel like Williams, he's gonna have a couple of picks. Um, it's gonna be, the Falcons. That game's gonna be terrible. Like I'm for the Falcons. Like they don't know what they don't know what they're coming into with the Ravens defense, man. Like like that's why I don't think it's a prime time game. But
No, yeah, nobody wants to
thank
watch
God it's
that.
not.
But
um,
if I'm the Falcons, I look at it like the same Ravens team played the Panthers. They won 13-3. They beat the Broncos 10-9. So if we get that Ravens team that we're seeing that has trouble scoring points, hey, we just have to hang in it. Maybe it comes down to, a Cordero Patterson punt return or something like that. Maybe he scores on one.
Right.
Maybe we can steal a win. I don't know.
And then for my upset, man, thinking about us, it's going to be the Eagles and Cowboys. Cowboys are 4.5 point favorite. I mean, I know Minshew's playing, but I have faith in that roster, that receiving corps and AJ Brown and Devontae Williams or Devontae Smith. So I have faith in that team. So yeah, my lock is the Bills against the Bears, and my upset would be against Eagles against the Cowboys.
Okay. For me, my lock, I'm going Lions over the Panthers. It's not that big of a spread. I just like what the Lions are doing right now. Darnold is playing better lately with Carolina, but I just think the Lions keep it going. And then my upset, I always go kind of out there with it. I like the Texans over the Titans. Tannehill's not going to play. I think there's some questions about whether he plays the rest of the season, which will play into, my Jaguars win. Well, not my Jaguars, but my pick of the Jaguars winning that division. If Tannehill doesn't play, the Jaguars will win it probably easily. But the Texans, yes, they only have one win on the season, but defensively they come to play every week. And Malik Willis, if he's the starting quarterback, I've seen that offense with him. It is nothing important that goes on with him. Him throwing the ball, not that great. He kind of wants to run all the time, so he'll be very one-dimensional. They're going to try to run Derrick Henry as much as they can. And I think the Texans defense will just load up in the box to stop Derrick Henry. Now, for the Texans, the question is going to be quarterback play. But like I said, I don't see the Titans running away with that. So I think the Texans hang around and then beat them late on a field goal. So that's my upset, which, it's kind of tough picking a one-win team, but I really see that happening. I think the Titans are slipping slowly.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the I think all opponents are picking the Ravens against the Falcons. I think weeks.
That's what they should. Well, I mean, ESPN has it's basically like 68% Baltimore, 32% Atlanta.
Yeah. Let's see.
And the Falcons don't even have a road win this season.
Oh yeah, I forgot they're in Baltimore.
Fascinating in itself, which is like you're telling me at no point in this season you could win a road game, but that's the state of Atlanta Falcons. I watch it way too much.
I forgot they're in Baltimore.
Oh wait a minute, they do have a road win.
I know we did.
I feel like ESPN is running a story that they haven't won on the road when they beat Seattle on the road in Week 3. I mean, that's their only road win, though. So,
I know we did pick up Sammy Watkins. I mean, for Duvernay's absence, and
so another guy that just cannot stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know who other receivers were on the market at the time. I know Beckham was still on the market. I mean, Cowboys had to talk with him about him having his physical and stuff, and him being worried about injury and stuff.
Odell is just loving.
I mean, what receiver was on the market other than?
I was saying Odell's just loving the attention right now. He has no interest in signing anywhere right now, but he just loves them talking about it. No, I mean I have no problem with them signing Watkins. He
can definitely.
Can they get a game or two out of him? Sure, they don't need him.
It can definitely relieve. I think it will definitely relieve the pressure off of Mark Andrews. I mean, I know Mark Andrews is built for this pressure. So I know since Duvernay's out, they might double. Oh yeah, but I feel like since Duvernay's out, basically Mark Andrews is the top target. Now with Watkins, they can kind of focus on Watkins and kind of like have Mark Andrews open more often. But
I am still focusing on Mark Andrews.
I think we have Robinson. We have freaking Jackson, who has proven, he can catch a ball, and run for
I am
catch.
daring Baltimore to not throw to Mark Andrews. That's how I would play defense against them.
Yeah.
Throw to whoever you want. We're not going to let you just throw to Mark Andrews when you want to. And then let's see what that offense looks like.
Yeah.
Because Mark
But
Andrews, top 3 tight end. So it
oh yeah,
makes
for
sense to
sure.
target him. But yeah, I would still cover him. Like, whatever.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, do you have any final thoughts before we close out before the holiday?
No, I mean, holiday season, just should be a time of nothing but love and all that. Don't worry about all this craziness that's going on in the world. If there's somebody you haven't talked to in a while, reach out to them. Could make their day. Also, like, be safe because it's like flu season, cold season, and I think there's like COVID surges all around the country again. So, it's getting kind of crazy out there in terms of, being sick and all that. So definitely be safe with all that as well. Because the last thing you want to do is infect your family at this time. So yeah, just be safe and hug a loved one. And if you can't hug them, call them and tell them you love them, or message them, however you want to
Yeah, I mean,
spread that.
like you said it perfectly, man. I know, like, we're in the midst of winter season. Especially with the weather and stuff. I know I read that. I think today or tomorrow is like the worst time to have like a snowstorm because of people are traveling to family and stuff for holidays. So it's like, if you are traveling and up in that area, to make sure you're safe on a plane. Make sure just like Kyle said, you're hug a loved one. Where this is, like, other than Thanksgiving, this is a time where you're with your family, and me personally, I never you know have a dull moment with my family. I always share some moments I have with my family, and and also, since this is the last podcast of the, well, no, I would say the second to last podcast of before the New Year's podcast. I mean, I am officially a 2023 graduate, so I
Yes,
earn
that's
my
definitely a big deal.
oh man, it's been a lot of stress off my shoulders. To be honest, like I knew Christmas was around the corner, but I just didn't really care because, like, I was more worried about my assignments and, like,
Hmm.
But now, since, like, I'm done with school, like, I'm like, yes, Christmas around the corner, So I'm done with classes. Looking for internships, so kind of like in the process of, like, LinkedIn and stuff. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, it's definitely a big weight off my shoulder, for sure. Don't worry about going to classes and traveling and commuting up there.
Hmm.
So yeah, another thing to celebrate. Um, but for sure, it's been a good episode. You can follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Is on that's where the live stream of the podcast is. Facebook Live, and on Twitch too.
Hmm.
Um, I know, Kyle, you're on the Victory with me, and you're on pregame Piskin with Godfrey and Gene.
Hmm.
I know you have your own show, Chum at the Bit.
Yep.
Love that show. Um, Definitely, if you need a guest on there, I'll definitely be a guest on there if you need me to be, man. Like,
Yeah.
but definitely, it's been a good episode, and yeah, man. Happy holidays, and I'll see you New Year's Eve, man, or New Year's. I guess. I guess that's Friday. I guess. Or,
Yeah. New Year's week. Yeah. I guess it'll be the day before New Year's Eve.
mm.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that will wrap it up for today's episode. I want to thank all the guests who have tuned in. Brett, Diggs, by the way, 7, Ty. You know, thank you all for tuning in. But yeah, that wrap it up. Thank you all. Happy
Yes.
holidays. Ho ho ho.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody.
What just happened? Yeah, I think I hit the delete video button by accident. Oh man! All right, this this will wrap this show.